Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Rocky Outcrop. We will be taking a look at Bitcoin technical analysis in this show, and it's going to be super fun. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm just going to roll the intro credits, and then I'm going to catch up with anybody who is in the chat for this live show, and then we will discuss everything. Great. And here we are back in the live scene. I am a little bit earlier today doing my stream than I have been lately, so I hope that people tune in whenever they get the notification through from YouTube that we've gone live and everything else. So not going to rush into doing any of the TA today. Hey, nice to see you, Trade Spotting, in the chit chat. Not going to rush into doing any of the TA today. In fact, I'm going to wait until such times as we have an audience. This is not like me. Normally I just crack on regardless of whether or not there's an audience tuned in or not, you know? But I'm going to see. Now I've got 7 likes, I've got 4 concurrent viewers. That's fantastic. Let me know that you're here in the chat. Put something in the chat, say hello and all that, so I can say hello back to you. I can see Trade Spotting's here. 12 concurrent viewers. Yes, excellent. Getting a bit of an audience here. Now I want to know everything's working perfectly. I want to know the audience is working. Hi Susan. I want to know that the audio is working properly and the video stream is working properly. And then I'll relax a little bit, because at the minute I don't know. Hey, so we're seeing Formica's in there, Trade Spot and Susan. Good stuff, excellent. So we'll be ready to go in a minute or two, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about future plans and stuff like that, sort of what's going on with the community currently, that sort of stuff. Good stuff. Are we experiencing drop-offs in the stream? Is it dropping off? And when it drops off, if it drops off, does it just cut and cut me mid-sentence so you don't hear the words? It says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering, and I'm not a fan of buffering. I don't like buffering happening for folk. That's not good. Etienne, Etienne, my friend. So good to see you, Etienne. Fantastic to have you here. Good to see you. Base in club. Hi, Robert online. I stopped watching for a few days and I come back to Rocky Castaway Edition. Wilson, I'm sorry, Wilson. Right, just is it streaming enough? Despite YouTube telling me that it's not getting enough video from me, is it streaming well enough? Or do I need to take some radical action, like turn my internet off and on or something like that? I wonder. I've really been enjoying having Kirk here and Sulu and the other guy, whatever he's called, Anton Yelchin, version 1.0. But I can't remember what he's called. What are the dudes? What are the deck crew on original Star Trek called? Let's ask Google for this one. That's not going to be the right question to ask. Just go original Star Trek, and then I'll look up the names of them on like IMDb or something like that, where all the cool bees hang out. Black, yellow, hello. Who did we have? Kirk, McCoy, Hura, Scott, Leslie, Sulu, Chekhov. That's it. Sulu is the Asian guy, and then Chekhov. So is this guy this guy here? Is this guy here? Is that that's Chekhov, isn't it? That's Chekhov. That haircut from behind. I'm thinking that's Chekhov, not Sulu. But it could be Sulu. Is it Sulu or is it Chekhov? Is it Sulu? That's Sulu, right? So is this guy Chekhov? Is that what's going on there? That'll be Chekhov up there, right? And George Takai is our friend down there, Sulu. I think. Yeah, Brandon, good to see you here, Brandon. Nice one. Marcin, good to have you here. I just got here. All good so far. Excellent. Nice one. Thanks for letting me know about that. So if it's all good, it's all good. I'll just ignore the yellow warning that YouTube's giving me about the amount of buffering it's doing or whatever. If everybody that's here could hit that like button, it would help, right? Because it makes the video more visible to other folk. Just get them to tell Rocky what sort of tutorials you like, and he will make them. Wait, I've obviously missed something there in that chat. Robert. I need to keep watching a few days. Come back, Castaway Edition. Ah, yeah. Robert, you need to keep watching, or he will have a huge beard on Monday. Yeah, you need to keep watching, or I'll probably shave again over the next few days. Probably stream again. Thank you, Bob, for letting me know about the stream and that's really good. Thank you so much, Craig. It's good here in Knesia. I don't know where that is. Knesia. That's really cool. Smooth as for Micah at my end. Nice one. Yeah. Right, yeah, thumbs up, everybody. Thumbs up, all that stuff, right? Now, what's today's show format? Right, well, it's not actually super complicated. I'm going to voluntarily give us our Bitcoin technical analysis. As you can see, by the way, I have the 1 minute Bitcoin chart up behind me, so you're not missing out on anything. That's the Bitcoin chart right there. That's it. Make it full screen, in fact, so it's even more Bitcoin-y. Or whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing the Bitcoin technical analysis, right? And then I'm not doing any other technical analysis for any other coins unless they're specifically requested by folk in the chit chat, okay? Unless they're specifically requested. That's right, my Tezos friends and everything else. Unless they're specifically requested from somebody who is a paying member of the audience, right? That's what we're doing today. And the Bitcoin one, that's gratis for everybody. Now, why am I doing that? Well, it's sort of, I kind of started thinking along these lines a week or two ago, whenever I was sent an email by people who were looking to get me to do some promotion for them on the channel. And I get these emails all the time, right? And normally I just ignore them if I don't think they're up to scratch. This couple of emails I got coming in, I thought, well, maybe they're up to scratch, or maybe I just think about things differently. I'm not really sure how I should be thinking about things. So as I normally tend to do, I took it to the community and I asked people what they thought of this sponsorship idea that somebody had sent me, or they'd asked me to make a video promoting their product, some crypto thing. And I discussed it with people, and I thought, this is probably in my wheelhouse or in my general ballpark area as being appropriate for the channel. But nevertheless, thought I would approach the community and think what they thought, because I always put everybody's needs in the community first. And we're talking about how I could get however many hundreds of dollars for having asked for payment for the show that I would make for them, or whatever, the advert I would put in the show. And it's not the first time. I've had plenty of these. In fact, maybe even, about 10 months ago, I got my first one, and it was an offer of $10 per video. And of course, at that time, I was making 4 videos minimum per day. So that's $280 a week I'd have been given from them, and obviously I didn't take it. So that's $280 a week times 40 or something like that. So 2,800. So that's about $10,000, which I didn't take from a company, which I could have done. And I should have done in many ways as well, because and then I was discussing this with the community, and they said, "What's your mission statement for this channel?" And I thought my mission statement would be that I would do that I was trying to make the best possible content for everybody for free. And then I really had to think about that and think, well, how does that work as a mission statement? Am I doing the wrong thing? Anyway, as I see, the concurrent viewers is down at 6 now as well. So the big drop off in the viewership, big drop off in the viewership right now. 5 concurrent viewers, something like that. I don't know. So I'm looking to see if we can get a decent enough size audience, or I'll probably not just sit here and chat with y'all. Lovely to see everyone, says Always Learning. Lovely to see you too, my friend. Good to see you. By the way, good to see you, Mexel dude. It's excellent to have you here. And everybody, it's excellent to have you here. Sign Mark Official. Here we go again. I've had that song in my head as well, actually. Here we go again down that road. I had that before I started the stream, in fact. And then you say, here we go again. Wow, that was the last song I had stuck in my head. Down that only road I've ever known. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I've given away too much. I've given away too much of myself for free, right? I've given away too much of myself for free for too long, okay? And it kind of came to a head as well to me today when I realized, when I looked at YouTube. I just opened up YouTube. Like we're doing just here. And what did I see on my YouTube channel? Only something from a friend of mine, nice guy, who I actually should probably put onto that list of people that I recommend on YouTube. You know, everybody knows I only recommend a few people. Well, here's somebody who I suppose as well. I think he's a real effective trader. He's good. He's a good trader, right? And he puts out this video earlier on, 6 hours ago, 11,000 views, start of the BTC bear market, and he's chatting away about a key level. He says there's a key level that he's going to reveal in the episode, and what you need to and you have to hang around to find it out. And his analysis, let's just stick it on. His analysis here. Hello. Hi, Daniel. It's urgent.
Technical analysis, where I am going to be.
Okay, is urgent video.
Going through the massively important, crucial support level that we have right now on the Bitcoin chart.
Okay, so this is him going to go to that level. Now, from the audience out there, can anybody guess? Can anybody guess what that level would be, roughly, right? Can anybody guess what that level would be from the audience out there? Now, if you didn't watch the last video, don't worry, you should still be able to guess. And let me just say as well, if you didn't watch the video before that, you should still be able to guess. And in fact, let me go as far as to say that if you watched any video that I've put out with regards to Bitcoin over the period of the last 2 weeks, probably, you'd probably be able to guess what that key level is. And it really made me think, quite a lot about what people are actually getting from the videos that I put out. What are they actually getting? So on Monday, for example, I was going to do a video where essentially I just looked at my last video and said, if you were to let that play, then we've got all going. I was going to make a joke about how I'm live doing this TA, but actually I'm not live. It was just me speaking and me watching me speaking from last week about today's price action sort of type of thing, because I'd already explained absolutely everything that was going on. But I know that when people watch the videos, that at first they don't actually take that away. 2 reasons for that. One is that I deliberately kind of hide a lot of the information, which you really, that it's not hidden. It's not put on a pedestal and told that everything else that I'm saying needs to be ignored. All of the information is put out there for you during the shows, and I educate you on how you would be able to figure out what's important and what isn't. And that's what goes on in the shows. And then over time, you start to really figure things out and you get really good at what you're doing here. And then as well, right? So combine all of that, the people coming and offering me sponsorship, me going to the community and asking them about whether or not I should take the money, me being told, you know, what is my mission statement for the channel, me really having to think about it and thinking that is giving away everything for free all the time my mission statement, and also, do people really get from the channel the information that they need or not? And I can answer that last question really easily by other messages that I've had recently, by more than 2 people, right, have got in touch with me in the last week to specifically to tell me just how great they found the education on the channel to be, to the point where they no longer watch anybody on YouTube at all, including myself, and that they're sorry for not having been part of the community as much as they would have been recently, you know, and that they miss me and they miss the community. They hope I'm doing really well, and they intend on coming back and enjoying the show more often in the future, you know. So I know, right? I know that I've educated to and transformed. I've been told this transformative, you know, radical impact on people's lives by at least, I could name at least 5 people who'd be happy to come along here and say that I've radically transformed their lives, right? That's amazing. Super amazing. And I thought to myself, in so many ways, that was the mission statement of the channel. That I just actually started on YouTube, and I thought, if I could change one person's life, you know, properly change their life with the information, then I would be satisfied that I had done a job well done. That's what I would be thinking. I've done a job well done. I've changed a person's life, you know? And then actually thought to myself, well, wait a minute, did I want to change everybody's life and then do it all like for free and all that sort of stuff, or not, and everything else? So I've decided as a result of that what I'm going to do is make a couple of little changes really to how I present the information and everything else. Because on the one hand, you've got a group of people who come along and watch the show, go away afterwards not really knowing what it is, you know. And I sometimes get comments down below from people saying, so what do you think then? Is it going up or down, or what should I be doing right now, you know, and stuff like that in the comments of the videos. And then I genuinely try and answer them, spend hours and hours and hours every week getting back to people in comments to talk about stuff and that, and help provide education. Shout out to Sikander, for instance, who knows all about that. But the information's in the video, right? It really is. And not only is the information in the video, but the information's in the video in such a way that it educates you to the point where in not that long a time, there's quite a good chance that you'd come back and tell me that you no longer need the education, you know. And it got me thinking about old jokes along the lines of why would anybody write a self-help book that actually worked, you know? Because if somebody put out a self-help book that actually worked, imagine the impact on the world that would have. Imagine how different, radically different your world would be if one day you woke up to find that everybody around you had read a self-help book that had actually worked. And you hadn't read it yet. You'd not read it, you know. How you look at the world. There's actually a book about that called Happiness, one of my favorite books of all time. Great read. TradeSpotting was the one that actually gave it to me. Shout out to TradeSpotting. So it's kind of about that concept, that idea, and also along the lines of, you know, how does everybody else operate? Well, they operate along the lines of the heroin dealer, right? You know, the heroin dealer isn't selling you self-help books that are going to make it so that you never come back. No, he's selling you something which is just enough to get you to come back more and more and more and more. And their customers really value their heroin dealers. They really, really do. And like the likes of chart champions there, Daniel, telling you that crucial information about three prices that I've spoken about in at length. And we're in here, by the way, at the minute, right at one of those prices, and around about that $47,000 area here. This is 47,700 or so. And I've talked about all these a lot, except a lot of people go away at the end of it not really knowing if they've had the best information or not. Whereas I'm actually convinced that the information I put out on my channel is head and shoulders above the quality of anything else on YouTube, right? And I see that my videos get really very, very few views, and it hasn't really grown that much. It hasn't really. I put out a video for about GameStop technical analysis, right? And GameStop ones normally do fairly well because the amount of people wanted to watch that sort of stuff. And it got 311 views, impressions in its first day. Let's just go over to the channel here. Anyway, this video by Daniel, good stuff. Talks about his group. Talks about this here. Now he talks about how they talked about where they would be taking a short from, etc. Now, if you remember, if you watched the video on Wednesday, just going up to the 4-hour time frame real quick here. If you watched the video on Wednesday, and I was talking about different areas about how you could have spoken about where you'd have taken a short from, but the audience doesn't seem to be really interested in that. But then I talked a little bit about it, and still then, told people roughly where to be looking for. Anyway, he's talking about how this is just a bonus part of his community, his signals thing. It's not what they paid for. It's not what you pay for. It's an education thing. This is a community, it's education, and it costs $200. I think it's 200 quid a month. We could check that out just now. Chart Champions. I'm not saying it's not worth going for. Community to transform. Blah 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 blah. Let's see. Start now. Right. Start now. Let's just see how much it costs. Plans. Come on, plans. Here we go. No, plans, Daniel. Give me your plans. Oh, here they are. Free for like the free one. So basically that's what most people are on really already. £97 a month or $197. Right, well, what do you get here for it? First, access to market updates, instant access to thriving community, exclusive access to the elite vault. Don't know what that is, but sure could come up with something similar. Skill sharpener chart of the week, selection of bonus videos, complete learning modules. Cool. So I'll put something together like this. What's he got? Champion, first access to market updates, instant access, blah 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 blah. Blockbuster weekly live streams. Okay, Blockbuster weekly live streams. It costs an extra $100. It costs an extra $100, £100, so like $120 more per month for a live stream access, right? Okay. Have I been going about this the wrong way? Have I? Methinks maybe me has. Bank stuffing trade of the week. I don't know. That's funny, isn't it? Access to inner circle community. So that's what I was kind of thinking with my premium section, that I would make a inner circle community there with that one. VIP direct message, that's another thing. I mean, the amount of people that have been messaging me over the last year, and I've been trying to help them with their trading and stuff, it's unreal, and that you all know who you are, and much love, by the way, to all my good friends out there. It's fantastic. I feel super fantastic about it. It's just as well as I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, what value does this actually have? So I'm just chucking out keys to Lamborghinis to everybody, right? Here's a Lamborghini for you, here's a Lamborghini for you, and then somebody comes along and says to me at some point, what's your mission statement? And I thought to myself, what's my mission statement to do that? Or was it to provide something of value that would actually return value back to me in the end? And I thought, well, actually I did want to get some money back for me out of all of this. I know that I'm providing out real value there, but then I'm also so humble. I'm so incredibly humble that I don't I don't, the first access to new features, the last one on that I don't that I really don't put that much value. I don't put like that much value on there and say, hey, look, everybody should be doing this because of the value. Instead, I just kind of think about what it is to be a human being, the struggles of life that we all have to experience as humans, how I could alleviate that somehow for people, and have a Jesus approach to doing all this sort of stuff. And really, I mean, should I really be doing that? Especially when people are getting the extreme value out of it at some points, and other people say to me, oh, I'm not really sure what actually happened in that episode there. I'm going to have to think about things properly, right? Okay, gonna have to think about things properly. Yeah, $197 pounds a month. That's right, Etienne. That's right. Nice to see you, Dan. Nice to see you as well, Internet Phenomeni. What happened? Please, Fetcoin. Please, Fetcoin. Internet Phenomeni. Well, for instance, my friend, internet phenomy, you're a prime example right now of the type of person who's taken advantage of me for a year. Okay, you're an example of somebody who's taken advantage of me for a year, and I'm sorry, internet phenomy, I'm not going to look at it. Okay. It's just not happening, right? Why? Well, because of everything that I've been talking about so far. You know that that Daniel does one live stream a week, right? Where is it? Banks? No, wait, no, wait. Where is it? Where is it? Where is this thing? VIP direct message, inner circle, trade of the week, weekly live stream just once a week, right? Now I do live streams 3 days a week. I started off doing live streams 5 days a week, and then before then I was making a video with TA on 4 different coins every day of the week, 7 days a week, and for the first big chunk of when I started on YouTube. And that was all, lovely, and that's great. And I built this bond with an audience, and I've got people out there who, now I'm really good friends with, and all the rest of it. And yeah, that's done now, I'm afraid. Right? That's over. What else is over is going to be other things as well. So there's going to be a wee change coming to the Discord. Let's go over to Discord here and jump on in. See if anybody replied to the comment that I put in there. It's covering what you missed. Internet phenomy. What happened? Rocky is covering what you missed. Internet phenomenon. Yeah, you missed it. Sorry, mate. Yes, but how many recurring customers does he actually have? He's yeah, good questions. By the way, I don't think he doesn't deserve them. Right? Let me be very, very clear here. Daniel deserves what he gets, and then some. Right? Now, I think, for lack of a better phrase, that I deserve what Daniel gets. Right? Now, I don't deserve what Daniel gets because he's been doing it for longer and everything else, all that sort of stuff. But you know what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. I'm just for brevity's sake. So while I can say while I can look at what he gets and say it doesn't matter how many he's got, buddy. He's got something in the region of a couple, like quite a few, right? Quite a few, and great. Now, Mitch Ray, for instance, Mitch Ray's got thousands of Patreon subscribers and all the rest of it, and he deserves everybody that he gets, right? He deserves all of it, and he's got over 1,000, right? So, and he deserves all of it. He deserves it, absolutely deserves it all. And it's really tough then for me to then reconcile, how can they deserve these things? How can they deserve these things? And then me not, pardon me, even proactively aspire to have them, like not even just being like, it's cool, I'll just do all of this for nothing. And not only will I do all of it for nothing, I'll really, really care about being accurate. I'll really, really try and educate people. I'll try and liberate them and educate them in a way, how does that add up? How does it add up? And then me thinking along the lines of, it's cool because, the likes of, Amith, who tuned in at the start, he wants to buy me a flight over to America to see him and stuff like that. Fantastic. Then you got other folk like Sean Thomas, really nice guy, who wants to buy me a flight over to Florida just to spend some time there and chat with him and put me up in some accommodation. And I think, yeah, you've got successful people out there who are willing to, put their hand in their pocket and say, here, look, let me just take care of you for a while because you've taken care of me for a while, and that sort of thing. And I think that's nice and everything. But that's not also like, that isn't sustainable. And I've been talking about paying it forward and stuff like that for last week. Anyway, you've got the likes of people like Artie Pyle, by the way, in there. The Artie Pyle is fantastic, really fantastic guy. Trey, right? Trip, if you want, really fantastic guy. Nothing that I'm saying here is going to be, in any way directed at the likes of Artie Pyle. And then you've got people like Formica, John Michael Scott. You've got Etienne, Etienne, who joined here in the channel. There's clearly so much more value for me on this channel than on any other crypto channel. I don't understand why people seem to be attracted by dream sellers type of thing. Yeah, there's so much value. He's been a subscriber, by the way, to the channel now for a year, just to put things into context for people, a year. So whenever I say all this sort of stuff about like how I'm going to change things up a little bit or whatever, I'm not directing it at the people for whom know me very well and have been here for a year. I'm talking about for everybody who's coming along from now on, essentially. You know, like, are we this family that we have here, this outcrop Christian community, prepared to be taken advantage of like that, all of us together? Are we, or do we not like that? Do we not like that anymore? You know, Dan Anthony, for example. Dan Anthony, he only found the channel really recently, and look at him already. You know, wanting to, like, fantastic guy. What a guy Dan Anthony is. He's only found the channel recently, and there he is. Already contributing to the channel like that. So you know, that's all good. Right. So yeah, so basically one of the things I thought is I might make the entire group paid. Okay. Right, I might make the entire group paid, you know. And by the way, always learning. You said earlier on that you saw there's strong resistance. I wonder what you were talking about, or support or whatever. Here's what I was thinking would be the premium section, by the way, talking about a few, like, and fantastic, by the way, Brandon, thanks so much for posting that. I didn't actually say thank you to you in there for like taking part in what we're doing. If you could stick to the format a bit more in terms of like Navanethan was saying, that'd be cool and whatever. But you know, like, we're kind of learning here and talking about different stuff, and you know, we're going to be doing all this education stuff to try and elevate people. So anyway, all of the price action, by the way, that we're experiencing right now is all explained, or was explained in my original post. Then what I did was I realized that it was too wordy and people wouldn't really read it and understand so much, so I took away all the explanation. Navanethan, I think, got to read it because I'd edited it live on there. But yeah, everything that's happened in the market really is laid out in this chart here, with this wedge that we had, and of course that's a statistically more likely to break towards the downside pattern. But I made the case for actually coming up here, taking out A, then coming back down with the chance of going up for B or whatever. But then these other entries over here that you'd be looking for. What's that one on the right? 43,000. Have we gone down as low as that? Yeah, there. Is that what that was saying? It's hard to see on this picture on my screen. Don't think we've been quite as low as that. Maybe we have, just in here. Yeah, just here. So yeah. So it looks to me like we probably got those entries bang on from here. You know, this is the sort of thing that I want to have. So I really don't need to do anything. I've already explained to everybody who I care about already. And now I do care about people who haven't tuned in before. I really do. And I'm looking forward to meeting y'all, everybody who's not even tuned into this live video. But for everybody who I really care about already, I mean, they've got it all explained. It's all been explained anyway. We talked about this. And it's done. No insult meant. Oh, what did you say? Because I wonder what you said. This is like the crypto streamer gossip channel, lol. Swear I come for the TA and I always get convo about other streamers instead. Yeah, that's cool, but that's the first time I've seen you say anything in the chat box. So what can I say, buddy? If that was true, you know, and you were here chatting around, unless you've changed your name recently, if that were true, that'd be cool. But you know, who cares what you're saying? Because I know that I've done hours and hours and hours. Yeah. All you get is that. That's right. That's all you get, isn't it? Anyway, just jumping over here to what I was talking about before as well with the videos content. You can see my videos here. Now, of course, some of the videos get a chunk of views and all that, but still, we're talking tiny numbers. If this thing ever wants to load up, tell you what, I'll just come back to that when it's finished loading and show you what I was talking about. But anyway, no. Yeah, you know, if anybody wants any to look at any coins in particular, you just need to ask. I wasn't clear enough about that. I'm going to do the Bitcoin technical analysis at some point during this live stream, and then I'm going to tune out. And the whole live stream is going to last for, like, hopefully not much longer than an hour. So unfortunately, we are already halfway into the live stream. I've not even started doing the TA. I'm fully aware of that, right? But if anybody out there wanted me to do anything, I see Dan Anthony, actually, you know, you didn't put in a comment with that. Dan, do you want me to take a look at anything in particular right now for you? Because I'm totally happy to do so. You know, anyway, like, you know. Thank you so much, Trey, by the way. Let him say what he needs to say and he'll give you the best TA I've seen. I'm glad to help. Yeah, you know, so anyway, I try proactively to be as genuine and as authentic as I possibly can all the time, and transparent. All of that, I try. I really, really try, right? Really, really try. That's all this has been. And what I'm saying to people is that that what the business model that I was working on beforehand, whether I knew it or not, was not sustainable. Okay, it just wasn't sustainable. And secondly, the feedback that I get is showing me that I actually, deliver content which radically can change people's lives for the better. Okay, radically can change their lives for the better. And thirdly, I was asked recently to think about what my mission statement is. What is my mission statement? And does it matter to me, for instance, like there's a crypto casino that wants to sponsor my channel. I'm saying to them, if you give me $100 per video, then I'll hit that button that says this includes paid promotion on my videos, and I'll say this video is brought to you with sponsored by and their name and whatever else, and they're up for it, right? Because they're watching it and they're like, this guy's content is like, we want to be the people that sponsor this guy, except it's a rubbishy casino thing, right? And I'm thinking, casino gambling, that doesn't really fit with my mission statement. And then I think to myself, but does also simply believing that everybody's going to be like Artie Pyle and Trey actually result in people being like Artie Pyle and Trey? Really? Does believing that it will? The believing that people would be like me? Does that work? The believing that, when I have a conversation with Sean Thomas, who has a similar mindset to myself, yesterday I was offering him, and I'll offer it out to everybody that's watching along too, that I actually want to grow this channel and to give other people opportunities to do stuff. And he says to me that he's happy to help, but he doesn't want to take any money from me because of the value that I give it to community. So, fantastic guy, wonderful guy, and I love him very much. But if there's anybody else out there who wants to do something, for instance, and make some money doing it, like if you want to run a part of the channel, and go on Facebook and run a Facebook group for the channel, then I'll give you a percentage of the Patreon income that I make every month. Okay, I'll do that. I'll happily do that. Just get in touch with me and say what you want and what we could do, right? And in all honesty, this is something that I want to start doing with the channel. I want to get it to the point where the revenue for the channel is such that I'm able to actually take people on and it gives them a meaningful amount of money every month. Now, right now, even if I gave you 100% of the Patreon income, it would probably not be a meaningful amount of money for you, really, in terms of the job you'd be asked to do on a monthly basis. Okay, and much love to all my patrons out there, by the way. I really do appreciate you so much, massively. But it's not enough. It wouldn't be enough if I gave somebody 100%. It says, now could you take over doing this one singular aspect? It's not enough. And all I would really offer you would be something like 5% at the maximum of the income from something in order to manage a bit. But if you wanted to, then that's cool, and we could do that. And I wouldn't expect anybody to do any of that for free. Okay, so look at Dan Anthony. Look at this guy. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that guy's a legend, right? Dan, you're a legend, right? And Stanley. Now, if you joined the video late, but I've not done anything yet, I've just waited. You're right on time, Stanley, says Artie Pyle, and 100% you are. You're right on time. So everybody gets it. Everybody understands. The likes of Artie Pyle, Stanley Knife, Dan Anthony, etc. You all know just like how genuinely much I appreciate you, and it's 100%. By the way, just let me be clear on that. Okay, like so much. And to everybody who's just joining me, who's wondering why I've talked for a while, I couldn't care less, because I care so much about the other part of the community that having a chat for a while about how I want the future to go to make it sustainable and everything else is that's neither here nor there. Also, when we're looking at videos that have got like my videos here getting these views, let me see, can I see how many views these things have got? When you're looking at the video number of views, like this GameStop video here, right, 21. Do you watching? I cut out the bit. Now you guys know, right? I cut out the bit from the live stream where I talked about GameStop and made it into a video. It's just 4 minutes of it, and it's got all the TA that they could possibly need. And I think people like Artie Pyle and all the rest of it that have watched all these streams and look back and they can see GME, right? And you know the interest that's out there in terms of this, and the discussion that we had with the TA. You know, right, that this is the best TA on YouTube for it. 21 views, right? 21 views. Genuinely don't know why the viewership numbers are so low. Don't know why, right? I know that the quality is there and everything else, right? And I know it is. This stuff here that's happened with GME is super interesting, but I'm not going to get into it. So right, 21 views that video got. Okay, and you could make arguments about the thumbnail could be better or something like that, but you're talking about changing things by a fraction of a percent, you know, or of a percent. Let's say it got 100% more views because I changed the thumbnail. Fantastic. We're at 40 views now. You know, so I don't know, and the live videos and stuff, like, you know, here's the live video performance, or it'll load up eventually. Views, you know, it's like this is this small community. So I've got this small community that is the best kept secret on YouTube. I know some of you, for instance, again, another shout out to the community again, to yourselves. You know who you are, and I know you as well, having brought along your friends. I know that there are some people out there, but you can see the numbers that we're talking here. Tiny numbers, right? Tiny numbers. TA. I don't think there's any dispute about which one's the best on YouTube, but I don't mind, and I don't want to be massively big-headed. But I've had it for over a year now with exceptional stuff. Even if it's not the best, I don't care. It's just the fact is that we're getting maybe at a push 1 to 10% of the amount of views that really we should be getting. So all that. Sean, look, Sean's now in the chat there, by the way. Massive. This is one of the guys I was talking about earlier on. Love this guy. Love this guy. Sean Thomas, hey, made it in time. Thanks, Rocky. Of course, I'd be happy to help or be involved in the Discord community in any way you'd want or need help with. You want my opinion on that? It's because they have people on there acting like they're viewers and commenting on live streams, making likes and the like. I've seen it asked to participate that didn't agree. So I think you're too high level to get more of the crypto noobs. You have to really dumb things down and play heavily to the clickbait. Keep up the quality, my man. I love what you do. All right, you see, dude. It's put me in a really tough position here, right? Really tough position, you know. I'm looking at launching a cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency itself could go on to generate multiples of millions of dollars, right? So there's that. And that'll happen. Now, I would have liked to have thought, right, that a year ago, that if I wanted to set up a cryptocurrency in a year's time, that after having, you know, put out the quality of content, like you're saying, that this high level stuff, that there would be this cohort of people there that would be super interested in getting involved in a community, in a crypto, that and all that. Now, there are a few, of course there are a few, but it's not like, you know, whereas what you're saying is I need to be more like Elio Trades or Crypto or whatever, and put out that to catch the noobs, and then, you know what, their cryptocurrencies have got a good chance of succeeding based off of hype around this thing. And it's like, how does that add up? But then let's imagine that cryptocurrency project does go ahead. It will. And that we make lots of money doing it over the long period of time. And this time, in 5 years' time, people say, so what do you do? And I say, well, I do trade, and that's where I started off as a trader. And then I took those skills that I learned as a trader, and I went and I conducted a charity project where I helped lots of other people out there make a lot more money than I did, having lost like most of my money due to health problems in the previous years. So I lived with significantly less money than my own audience has watching this stuff, right? And then but happily and successful as a trader, and everything's great, so no problems there. But nevertheless. And then I launched a cryptocurrency, which again made more money from other people than it made for myself. And the whole time I ran a charity YouTube channel. What? what are you doing, mate? If I had to help that other person, if I listened to somebody else saying that, I'd say, man, you're going about this wrong. What you're doing is called working hard, and what you should be doing is working smart, and you're not doing that. And all these other people out there who don't know how to work hard end up working smart by accident, and they're not even on the same level as you. So what are you doing? Can you go over a bull trap if you get a chance? Yes, happily, right? So bull traps, let's just start off with bull trap. Now, let me just put a stream marker in here so I know. Now, I appreciate I spent the last 45 minutes doing this, but like I say, you know, we're a community here, and I'm trying to build up a community. I think a lot of new people are coming into the space. Yeah, I know. I think it too. But I've been told for a long time the channel is going to blow up. It's not going to blow up, right? It's not. Okay, so let's just accept facts. It's not going to blow up, and without it blowing up, I'm not going to get enough revenue from YouTube to make it so that I'm earning even minimum wage doing this as a job. And that's a hard commitment to make for life, right? Especially if at some part of my life I'm going to have a family. Right? How am I going to convince my wife and children that I'd be better off doing this than spending time with them? You know, and how will I look back in the future and think, like, did I make the right decision, or should I have spent more time with my elderly parents? Right? What will I think back in the future about this? So yeah, okay. So bull trap. Right? Let's just look at bull trap. I mean, and let's be realistic about things, okay? Because I'm here to help. You're all more than happy to help me, and let's figure things out. Because if there's a route for me to continue doing what I'm doing, just as I have been for the last year, you know, the Discord completely open to everybody to join it if they want to, and it's this lovely community where we all occasionally have conversations with each other from time to time about how in the future it won't be like this because it'll all explode. But then a year goes by and it doesn't explode, and then what if another year goes by and it still doesn't explode, and another year after that, and another year after that, you know? And we're all just saying, this community is totally going to explode one day, and it never does, right? What if? And also, what if people then valued what they were getting more? Because unlike yourself, Dan, who actually is more than happy to think to themselves, well, I'm trading and I'm exposed to thousands of dollars of risk here, and I'm asking this guy to help me out with a trade, and if my stop loss gets hit, I'll lose $100 right there and then. But I'd sooner like pay $100 to the market and be wrong than ask this guy just for some comparison points and drop him $4, you know, or whatever. You know, you're not one of those people, okay? But other people are, and they're not valuing the content that they're getting. They're just not valuing it, okay? And that's okay. Whenever you want to help people and everything else, like I do, but it's not okay if you want to turn around to say your partner who wants to have dinner with you, and you say you can't have dinner with her because you've got to go and do this thing for people who don't really value it anyway. It doesn't fly, right? It doesn't fly, etc. Or if in 10 years' time I look back and think, well, I could have spent those years hanging out with my mum and dad, and they're dead, and I can't anymore. So, you know, it doesn't add up. But I'm here now, right? I'm here now. Anyway, I think this is all you know, it's all like, you all know, right? You all know what the chat is. It's just that, like, go and watch some crypto videos. If I have absolutely upset you or bored you or whatever, by all means go and watch some crypto videos. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not a YouTube amalgamist. I think that Chris from Crypto is one of the nicest guys on YouTube, right? Really, really do. So just go ahead, watch his videos. He's got a couple of videos out today. He explains in his videos how there might have been like some sort of pattern in this period here in a small time frame. Must have been a really small time frame. I don't know what one he was looking at, wherever it was. I don't know. He talks about something about like some ascending triangle idea that he had, which then didn't work out. And then he talks about how where you would, you know, his emergency in the video is that if you're shorting during a bull market, take profits and use stops. Emergency. It's like he so had to get that video out. It was an emergency. That's why today I've called my video Bitcoin emergency something, because his emergency, Chris Crypto's emergency today was that there was a pattern which could break to the top side. In his opinion, it would break to the top side, followed up by a video 4 hours later where it broke to the downside and it was an emergency that he lets everybody know who's shorting things to use stops. Okay, that's it. And he got 50,000 views per video. Okay, right. So there's that, or there's this, and you go, if you want to watch him encrypt, if you want to do that, by all means, because I think the guy's a really nice guy, and there's lots to be learned there for it, lots and lots. Right. So what is a bull trap? What is a bull trap? That's what we're doing. Truth hurts sometimes. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. I mean, like, honestly, is there any of you out there who could turn around to your wife or your daughter or your mother and say, look, I'm going to spend the next 4 hours doing this thing with these people here, and I'm going to then go into this community, I'm going to post out these ideas, I'm going to do all this, and it's not going to grow. Occasionally I get people telling me that they've really valued the videos, but they're going to not watch them anymore because they've learned enough. And I had other people telling me that it's just too difficult for noobs, i.e. people who are desperate. So the people who are desperate and new, who want to give out their money really, really quickly because they're so desperate. And then there's me, who's helping everybody who's like had their fingers burned in the markets already and don't want to just fling out money at everybody all the time. And then they don't. And they have some sort of tight-fisted attitude about things. Right? Okay? Or whatever. I mean, or whatever it is. I don't know. And then you get people like that guy with the yellow username, Grey Greg, who says that all he's ever seen when he's tuned into this channel is me yapping about other people on YouTube. It's like complete and absolute nonsense. Today's episode has been an hour of me not doing any technical analysis deliberately, just to drive home the point. The point being, by the way, that I told everybody exactly everything that's happening in the charts. I told everybody, and I posted it here on the 16th of February, and that was 10 days ago. Okay, so I told everybody 10 days ago what was going on, and I could tell people now, we could talk about stuff. It would only really be seen like, oh, I really should have watched Rocky's videos better and paid attention to what he was saying and understood it at the time, in a few days time, and you look back and you're like, oh god, right, wait a minute. And then you go over to my channel and you stick on any video from the past and watch it looking at the charts with the next day in mind and go, fuck, right, this is, now I get what he's talking about. You do what Sean Thomas does and you actually try and learn deliberate practice and become good at what you're doing and stuff like that, you know. Or you go away and you say to me, yeah man, I watched your video, I wasn't quite sure if you're thinking it was going to go up or down though, what do you think? And that, what do you think? And that, whereas, and then you got these other people out there who are waging war on fish all the time, just kicking the fish's heads in. Right, anyway, enough of that now, I've made the point thoroughly. Let's talk about bull traps, right? 5 minutes. We'll talk about bull traps for like 5 minutes. I'll do like 5 minutes of TA on Bitcoin. I'll wait and see if anybody wants me to do TA on anything else, and then I'm just going to go on and leave it. I you know, right? Or whatever. I don't know, or whatever. But the just little bits of news. If you want to join the Discord, make sure you go ahead and join it like now. You know, let's see. Did people say that's pretty fair? Most streamers seem to charge for generally searchable strategies and Discord access trade notifications anyway. I couldn't believe both you and Tradespool put your vids up for free, says Dead Money. Thanks for waiting until payday too. How are you managing the premium section, by the way? Sorry if I missed it somewhere. YouTube membership, Patreon, etc. Cool. Excellent. Tick. Nice one. Glad to see that. You know, there's going to be some people like Grey Greg who come in here to the live stream and are like, you just want to be bitching about other people or whatever, right? And then there's going to be other people out there who are cool, you know. Can't wait to see you on this next part of your journey, Rocky. Always learning. He's here today, by the way. Always learning. Thanks. You know, fantastic. Man, I'm sorry, by the way, dude, content that it's that I do videos. It's so hard, right? It's so hard to make videos which gives you the same feeling as you get if you feed a child a microwave meal that was past its sell by date. and you're thinking to yourself, am I doing the right thing here? Really? Am I really doing the right thing here? Or not, instead it's like I'm out here, I'm putting out content that's tough to understand, and I'm educating what I'm talking about. I'm always educating people on what I'm talking about, and over the last 4 or 5 months, it started really trading last week after 4 or 5 months of watching. So like, you've had a really good you've just supported my so Artie Pilot, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so like, when I was having that chat, sorry again for the Dan, by the way, Dan, look, Dan, if you feel like I've let you down in this at all, hook me up, direct message me on Discord, and we'll chat away. I just got a comment there on the Discord for Spidey Monkey. Make your custom indicators premium, they are fire. Like, I'm giving away they're giving away for free. Do you want them for free, ladies and gentlemen? You can get my stuff for free if you want. When you get that little feeling inside you of, am I slightly taking advantage of this guy? Let it be known, yeah, you are, right? And it's okay. It's okay. Just, maybe consider hitting the like button and telling your friends and bringing them along and helping the channel grow, or asking if you can get involved in some other way. Like, maybe you'd post messages on Facebook for me or something like that, and or whatever, and it'd all be good and it'd help. Or maybe you can help me with the SEO of my videos, or whatever it is. You can help out in some way, and we can send value back in one way or another. Dan, if you feel like I've let you down by not having done your bull trap chat right away, or if you have to run off or anything else, hook me up directly and send me a message, Discord. Just email me if you want, or whatever, and we can talk about it. For people who actually saw there recently, I even made a video for some bird who asked me about some coin and made it private, and it lasted an hour. Right. So bull traps. Did I have the page open? Bull traps, as according to I'll be honest, I haven't made any money in crypto at all. Actually lost overall, but once I do, you'll be sure to know, Rocky. Yeah, okay. It's really hard, right? All of this is really hard. And in fact, trading cryptocurrencies is a real brutal experience compared to trading traditional markets, for the most part, okay, because of the volatility, let's face it, the almost complete lack of fundamentals, mostly, numerous other reasons, that make it so that that's for some people, they can go and find value in stocks and shares that you can't really find inside cryptocurrency. I mean, for example, how much does it cost in terms of Chainlink to use Chainlink? Chainlink themselves are going to have an update in the next wee while where their efficiencies are going to increase by 90%. Apparently, it's going to cost 90% less to transact on their network and get and use their feed, which for other people makes it seem like that. For some people, it makes it seem like, well, the value of Chainlink's going to skyrocket then, because there'll be so much more demand and it'll be used more, and because companies that want to have that, because the companies that have got some, and when people look at it at the minute, they think, wow, it was worth $27 to do this much. Now you can do 10 times more with that $27 worth. It should be worth $270. And then there's other people out there that think, well, if it costs $27 to get X, and now it's going to be 90% less costly to get X, surely the price of Chainlink will drop down to $3 or $4, right? Now that is way beyond what you could ever normally get, right, in terms of the value when you're talking about the value of a cryptocurrency. Like, it's way beyond it. Like, it's nowhere near it. Whereas when you talk about Coca-Cola, and they say, well, we sell 100 million cans of Coca-Cola every week in Germany, and have done for 10 years, and each one gets us this much money, and et cetera, then it's much easier to say, well, I reckon that for one share of that company, it's going to be worth about this much, especially when they pay out a dividend based on their activities of their profit and loss, which is all made public and published, whereas none of this is the case in cryptocurrency. Okay, so while I'm not going to say run away from crypto at all, what I would say is, have you thought at all about maybe trading some traditional things. And if you would like to trade at the minute something traditional, and again, I'm sorry, Anthony, then we're talking about like Rolls-Royce over here. Is that Rolls-Royce Holdings? Is that the right? Actually, is that the right one? Because I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the UK. There we have it there. This one here, it could be an opportunity, in terms of, is this going to work out as a head and shoulders here for us? And that if it does or it doesn't, great, and all that. But and while this is a huge difference, like 310% from its lows to the highs there, that could that could be what you're looking at in terms of like on a day-to-day basis, like for this period of time here, which lasted for 250 days, the price dropped 37%, and this whole time it was trending, and you could have easily have traded this to the short side, just looking at it going, well, yeah, it's trending down the way, especially over here, and you could use some of the tips that we talk about. So one of the things that we talk about, this 24-hour time frame, you've got this cross. This is the death cross, the red 50 simple period moving average crossing over the 100 or the 200 period simple moving average. Now, what do I talk about after this happens? I say this is the most typical textbook in terms of moving averages bearish signal that you get. This is the number one bearish signal in terms of what people talk about. But what do you see afterwards? Well, you tend to see that there will be a retracement up towards the 50 and perhaps even testing the 200 as confirmation before going on. There's just one of the little tips that you get, and we talk about this in terms of crypto. It comes up all the time, and you can see right there was an opportunity. Nevertheless, you wouldn't have gone long on this unless it was broken past that 200, etc., on down the way, and you could have ultimately have made whatever you wanted, whatever you'd wanted. Essentially, the opportunity there was unlimited. Now, could we be going into another scenario where we have unlimited opportunity? Yes, we could. We had a golden cross over here. What happened afterwards? Well, we came back down and tested 200 simple period moving average. Could be moving towards the top side. We've come in here, retested off the 50. Is it an opportunity? Yes. Could you lose on this trade? You so totally could lose. You totally could. It could completely be rubbish. Then again, maybe it won't be, and you'll have time to think about things, and there's still a lot left on the psychology side for you to learn. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Rocky is the first I've seen present what I now know to be a smart trade and win with it. Thank you so much, RT. Yes, that's the difference between the dumb money and the smart money, okay? And that's what I try to bring people up to speed with. I try. Okay, so another stream marker now, so I know exactly this is when we start talking about it. So what is a bull trap, right? What is a bull trap? And we've all heard people talk about bull traps and bear traps before. Bear traps perhaps being the better word, because of course a bear trap is a thing that it catches you and it's a trap. People tend not to use them on bulls quite so much. The bull traps for them is those things you see on roads. That's a series of little pipes that when the cow or the bull walks across, its foot kind of falls between and then they can't walk anymore. That's not the same. A bear trap now, that's going to get some blood on the go, and that's much more gruesome. So maybe that's what we should be thinking about instead. But anyway, everybody's heard of them, and essentially what is it? Before we read this, try and cover it up so I don't get influenced. What is a bull trap or a bear trap? Well, it's when the price action is as trapped you in a position that you don't want to be in, right? And it kind of boils down to that phrase that it's much better to be out of a trade wishing that you were in than to be in a trade wishing that you were out. And if there was one instance where that really comes to the fore and bubbles right up to the top and dominates your entire consciousness, is whenever you found yourself in a bull or a bear trap. Now, as well, how are we going to find these things happening? They could happen in numerous different ways. There's hundreds of different permutations that could run up to there being a bull or a bear trap. But an easy way of thinking about it is that you could be operating inside a bullish market which has just turned to a bearish market, and then with the capitulation that you see happening in the market, maybe it pushes past certain areas before you've had time to respond to these new market conditions, leading up to you being trapped. I'm going to have to close Discord here because there's lots of chat in there. Which you should all join for free. By the way, yeah, I'm thinking I'll make the whole Discord a paid thing, just the whole thing. And there could be a general discussion group room thing for for people who just want to be part of the community and say, hey, how's it going, and all the rest of it, and do that sort of thing. And then just everything else in the premium section, just do it that way. I don't know, what do y'all think? That's another thing that I'm thinking of. I don't know. And I'll link it to like Facebook, not Facebook, like Patreon and stuff like that. Okay, so there's different situations that could lead to you being in one, and quite often you'll find that this is a result of price action having been potentially painted onto the charts, as some people like to talk about it, where you get a setup that looks like a decent setup for you, but actually the setup was only being kind of painted on in order for you to then follow along with that, and then end up being trapped in a position by, you know, the bears or the bulls, whatever they happen to be at the time, and that. So if somebody says bull trap, it means it's caught a bull, and if somebody says bear trap, it means it's caught a bear. But often bear traps are set up by bulls or bears, and it's and it can be a way of sort of, you know, kind of like whenever you get surrounded in the army to cut you off, you know, even though that might have been a decent enough trade, kind of cut it off and capture that liquidity for yourself, and then let the markets resume. Or indeed it can come at pivots in markets. Anyway, let's just read through this real quick together. A bull trap is a false signal referring to a declining trend in stock, index, or other security that reverses, or other security. So funny with how these words, you know, you'll often hear people say, oh, something's just become an asset, which is kind of funny. It's just like a kind of wrongly used American phrase for the word asset, which is maybe slightly different to how we would talk about asset in terms of everything's an asset. You know, everything's an asset. So Bitcoin has been an asset for years, but you had people saying, oh, Bitcoin's become an asset. I don't even know what they mean. And then security, isn't it? You know, security. But it could be anything. It could be any derivative, commodity, anything, even, you know, cryptocurrencies, which have been given the green light by the SEC as definitely not being securities. They also could be trapped as well. Okay, so just like Investopedia and everything else that you're likely to read online is going to have people just kind of, you know, saying stuff that they don't really think about very much, and so long as they get that number of words written and, you know, nobody complains that they've said, you know, then that's fine, right? Okay, so, and of course you can use security in this way, like, you know, I digress too often perhaps. Okay, so what is a bull trap? A bull trap is a false signal referring to a declining trend in a stock, index, security, commodity, whatever, that reverses after a convincing rally and breaks a prior support level. The move traps traders or investors that acted on the buy signal and generates losses on resulting long positions. A bull trap may also refer to a whipsaw pattern. The opposite of a bull trap is a bear trap, which occurs when sellers fail to press a decline below a breakdown level. Again, applying a narrative and blame along with this. There's something that doesn't really need the blame, right? So the opposite of a bull trap is a bear trap, which occurs when sellers fail to press a decline below a breakdown level. It's the sellers failed. What is that? What is that? Why do we need to anthropomorphize everything and put narratives on everything? Why do we need to do that? Who knows? Anyway, there's certainly more reasons than that about why it might happen. You know, of course, you know, you could say the reason why we haven't all, you know, the reason why we've all as individuals failed to fly yet is because, you know, we're failures in terms of our ability to break the rules of physics or to have wings or whatever, you know, and you could make that sort of thing, but there's no point in talking about things in terms of failure. If there's that scenario right there is where you would be saying that there was a significant area of support and the prices then were testing that and actually broke down past it, and there was no follow through of bearish momentum, or there was significant recovery and momentum from bulls, which outweighed the bearishness of the bearish momentum. And then in retrospect, you look back at that level and you think, how much of a trap really was that? What actually happened? And so we'll go back onto the charts and we'll try and find a few examples of traps to take a look at, right? But there's more to it than that. Key takeaways: a bull trap denotes a reversal that forces market participants on the wrong side of the price action to exit positions with unexpected losses. Bull traps occur when buyers fail to support a rally above a breakdown level. Traders and investors can lower the frequency of bull traps by seeking confirmation following a breakout through a technical indicator and or pattern divergences. Let's just read that last sentence again. Traders and investors can lower the frequency of bull traps by seeking confirmation following a breakout through technical indicators and or pattern divergences. Pattern divergences isn't really a thing. That's just something they've made up. You can, as an example, look for confirmation on a breakout by looking at an indicator. Plenty of other ways of looking for confirmations. That's not how confirmation is sought, isn't through an indicator. That's not like, as that sentence would maybe imply. You wouldn't lower the frequency of the bull traps themselves, of course, as well. The frequency would exist regardless of your participation in the market. It would just be that the frequency of you losing as a result of them. Anyway, yet again, I digress, as Investopedia writes some bullshit that can't really be read out loud by me without any critique. Again, it's hard for me to make videos like Crypto does and stuff like that. It's really genuinely hard for me. It's even hard for me to read this page out loud. In fact, we're not going to do that anymore. But by all means, check that page out. Right. Right, we'll get back to talking about what we're going to see people do on the other. We'll get back to talking about what we're going to see Bitcoin do over the next wee while after we finish talking about bull traps for my friend who wanted to talk about that. Let's try and find an example of a bull trap, right? And a couple of different ways of looking at these sorts of things, okay? First off, you've got like these sorts of wicks over here. Now, that could be an example of a bear trap where the prices looked like maybe they were breaking down past a certain level and it shot back up again, and on the 24-hour time frame it results in this wick. But in terms of a lower down time frame, you might have a number of candles or a couple of candles pushing you down here, and it looks like something's going to happen and then it doesn't actually happen. And so oftentimes then that is a case of it being that, this phrase that I say we're looking for confirmation, and by confirmation I mean we're going to want to see multiple opens and closes below this on a decent sized time frame. That, you've heard me say stuff like that. Well, what that really means is that we're looking for to not be trapped in a move, essentially in that sense. Okay, then there are other types of traps that you can get, typically, in and around about gaps in markets. Is there a gap over here somewhere? Obviously not on this chart, but in and around about gaps in markets, when you see the price action coming back towards a gap or to fill it or whatever, maybe it looks like it's going to do something and it hasn't actually done it. You've got examples like, I think probably GameStop right now, bull trap, perhaps. Could you have called this a bull trap? I think so, especially with the dynamics that operated in it around about the gap here. So we had this gap on the left, so you can see that the pre-market trading brought us up to the post-market trading, followed by pre-market trading, so between the sessions essentially, after the close and then before the opening of the actual trading session here for GME. The prices had managed to make their way all the way up to the $170 area, which was actually in the middle of this gap here, okay? And then when the market opened back up the way, the realization then that for some people that actually this gap, which had been created in the movement up pre-market, was going to be filled before the gap that it was gone up to be filling, okay? So a lot of people would be thinking, okay, we've got this here, we're now in the gap. When trading opens up today, we're going to fill this gap up. And of course, that was naive, and they were trapped as a result of that in a bullish position, which they maybe got into at 120, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, in the belief that something would happen when actually something else was going to happen instead. And there's that sort of another classic trap for you. So that then it comes the question of, well, how do you define what a bull trap was? How do you look back on it? And it's not like saying a head and shoulders, okay? And it's not like saying ascending triangle or a wedge or a diamond top or any of this, right? It's not a pattern which plays out on charts which has a particular look to it necessarily, okay? However, there are some typical things that you would look to in these instances, such as reversal candlestick patterns, etc. So maybe in a sense what we could look at over here is see if we can find any bear traps, okay, towards the lower end. And maybe when we see this bottom coming in here, we can look and we can say that at this point here we had a low, okay, and then we had another low over here, and that those two then lined up, and you can see this wick is perfectly lined up with this wick over here, and it gives you that perfect double bottom scenario, okay? Then you can bring up your oscillators and you can look and you can say, well, we were waiting for confirmation in a sense on the RSI, because what we see here is we had bullish divergence between these two lows, and then we moved up here and went past the neutral point of the RSI, right? After having put in these two lows, and we'd moved up the way there, and by all means it looked like things were going to be positive, right? They looked like they were going to be positive. And then the market's actually reversed, in which case you would say maybe this is a bull trap. Okay, fair enough. But then maybe you describe this area as having been a bear trap, because what people are looking at here is they're saying, oh, well, we had these two lows and now we've broken that and we've gone below it, and even, and you know, in the face of all of this potential for positivity, that really, you know, the bullish divergence we saw here on the RSI, well, that was crap, because we didn't have that divergence over here on the MACD, and statistically speaking, the MACD's got a better playout for divergences than RSI has, according to this article I read. Therefore, the prices didn't have this positivity here. That was fool's gold. In fact, it had this negativity, which is quite clear to be seen, and the prices broke down the way. We're going lower, bro. Besides, all the hedge funds are shorting this thing, and everybody's shorting it, creating a perfect bear trap. Okay, now that's an example. Now, what you can see in these times is you can see tweezer bottoms, you can see V-shaped recoveries, you can see whatever, yada yada yada. It doesn't really matter, right? Because you can always make it. You can almost always make an argument about the opposite scenario to the bear trap or the bull trap. In which case you say, well, you know, we were just coming back down to this other identified area for some other reason. Okay, so back over to Bitcoin. Doesn't look like I'll get any clips out of this today's live stream to show people. Back over to Bitcoin then. Some classic examples of traps for us have come in at peaks, right, and troughs. Classic examples of traps. So everybody remembers in 2014 how we had these lows, but there wasn't this as quite as obvious a trapping effect as maybe what we saw here in March, when the prices came down and broke below $4,000 again. Because over here at this point, when we broke past $4,000, this was whenever things started to look much more positive, over and around about the March to April period of 2019, sorry, following on from the 2018 bear trend. So we had this bear trend, we went past this area, good stuff, everything got bullish again, yada yada, went on down the way, we had a massive crash in the market, prices didn't stop at 6,000, they didn't stop at 5,000, they didn't stop at 4,000. Suddenly people are like, actually, I need to capitulate here. Now, whether whether a bear trap or a bull trap, in this instance a bear trap, is somebody getting in and actually getting a naked short to the downside, versus whether somebody's just closing their position and saying, well, I was long, now I'm going to sell. The impact on the market is more or less the same between those two situations. So a bear trap can actually trap people out by creating an event where they simply hand off their liquidity to somebody else who's looking to pick it up at that bargain basement price, and then watch the prices go back up thereafter. So this was, you know, a bear trap in that sense. And likewise, this was a bull trap over here, and this bull trap in June 2019 had numerous things about it. In fact, I've talked about it 1,000 times, so everybody that watches the channel knows all about, like, you know, the market dynamics and around about this zone. If you're new here though, and you're looking and you're thinking, well, what could he possibly be talking about, there was a few things in the run up to this which made it, you know, very the psychology around this area became very, 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 very incredibly bullish. So you had the likes of Mitch Ray saying he was going long here, Eric Crown saying he was going long here, The Moon saying he was going long here, Crypto saying he was going long here. You had Tyler S saying he was going long here. You had Sunny Decree saying he was going long here. You had Daniel from Chart Champion saying he was going long here. You had everybody saying they were going long here. Right, that's what the mentality was. When in actual fact, you know, again, the bearish divergences, the on the RSI that weren't showing up at the MACD at this top, giving you that conflict there, you know, which is creating this and the momentum, and everybody's saying everything's going well. Well, anybody who essentially anybody who bought it above 10k at that point was trapped into a bad situation. The narrative, the main narrative at the time was, we've broken 10k again. This is the start of the bull run. Okay, and that was, you know, back in 2019. And yes, people did have stock to flow back then and everything else. Yes, they did. And yes, they made the prices look like they were sticking to stock to flow perfectly. Yes, they've always retroactively gone back and changed stuff. Yes, it's always been the way that it's been with that stock to flow thing. It just adapts to fit the scenario, the narrative of the time. So if you're wondering how could this possibly have acted as a trap, when if you look at the stock to flow diagram, we're only just doing what was said we'd be doing now. Think again, friend. It's not how it worked. Anyway, other traps. Bear trap over here. Now the bear trap in here at this point is from the lows to the highs after the massive rise up in the 2017 price pump. Again up here, so you're looking over here and you're saying, well, like, we've gone past the 618, this area where you'd be hoping to see the prices turn at. We've gone past the golden pocket on this. We've gone past the 786 on this one. This is really, you know, we've got this downward trend. We've got a low here, a lower, that's the high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and we've come in and put in a lower low. We've broken the overall. This was the whole of the bull markets thing. This is what everybody talked about. This is it. This is when the prices went from its lows of $2,000 up to highs of $20,000. This is everything. And now we've gone down past the 618 golden pocket zone. Where could we be going next? Well, it's only, who knows? This thing's not worth anything. Peter Schiff was right, etc., etc. And again, perfect bear trap in here. But the sad thing about this bear trap is, in many senses, is that this obviously then trapped people who perhaps, almost certainly, were trapped the other way, right? So you had the blow off top at the top, if you want to call it that. That's what people talk about it as. It wasn't really not like these sort of blow off bottoms or the June, you know, not even as much as this, and you know, or whatever. But you know, fine, cool, whatever. And we dropped down the way, and then the prices went back up straight away. Now, the drop down from the highs to these lows was 42% down, 42% down. And then whenever we came up to this area over here, so many people ended up getting trapped into positions. Now, was it necessarily a bull trap? No, it wasn't a bull trap, but the narrative in around this section that YouTube and the rest of the world was putting out made it effectively like a bull trap. In effect, it was, and so the amount of people that were going long at these areas, and we were just providing liquidity to people, they really were. And probably should have had the volume on throughout this discussion, because you'll always see that that there's increases. Not always see, but you'll see that these increases in volume that you're having is just like people is pain for lots of people out there, right? It's lots of pain. So that's everything about bull traps that you really need to know to then be able to go on and research them and fully understand the concept of bull traps and bear traps, because they're both essentially the same. A couple of little things that are maybe worth mentioning are along the lines of how enthusiasm in markets so often goes into this blow off top scenario, which is in and of itself ends up as being a bull trap. Following on from what seemed like what could have been, you know, various blow off tops along the way, which is parabolic runs towards the top side, and it creates, you know, a feeling of failed bull trap, failed bull trap, failed bull trap, which adds up inside of you psychologically as being FOMO, okay, on the run up towards these things, and having fear of being trapped is a wise thing to keep in mind, and it's not a shameful thing to take profits, and it's not a shameful thing to be stopped out on trades, even if you're ultimately were right in terms of the overall trend direction, but it didn't work for your particular risk tolerance. That's fine, don't worry about it, okay? And then I wasn't trapped. I held on for another 3 years and it paid off. Sorry, pile. Okay, so there's some of that as well out there, you know. So you can see. So that's where the word trap comes from, because the supposition is that the markets will kind of go back eventually to get you there. Whereas with sometimes in a market where it blows off towards the top side and then capitulates, you find that there's that effect on the go that you might want to look to. Whereas often you'll find that in terms of the downside that you get a more of a rounder bottom or more double bottoms and stuff like that happening to you know, as people retest previous areas of support. And you don't do that in so-called price discovery in blue sky thinking when you're out there finding the price for the first time. You've got no historical stuff to go back and retest, of course. So there we have it. So there's so much more. There's so much more to it that we could discuss. I could probably discuss bull traps and bear traps non-stop for hours and hours and hours and look at numerous things. But what we have done is we've looked at a couple of key examples of bull traps and bear traps. We've talked about how the word bull trap and bear trap isn't something that you can draw a picture of, and people who say that it is are just kind of trying to shove circles into or square pegs into round holes, etc. We've talked about the what you might see during a bull or bear trap in terms of wicks on the big 24-hour time frame that were candles on other time frames. The confirmation ideas of looking for significant period time frame candles closing above and below key areas for you. We looked at an example on GME which had a lot of positive things going for you, which you know, the price where it looked like it had double bottomed and then it pushed up a little bit and it looked like it could have been going on for a move towards the top side before it actually dropped down away, and it was a significant percentage move, as big as what we're talking about over here in cryptocurrency. We saw that, which actually then ran into a bear trap happening immediately after that. We looked at the Bitcoin pricing, we looked at the 2017 highs, we looked at the pullbacks, the bear trap following the 2017 high, which was of course part of an overall bearish trend itself, you know, where the prices actually trended down the way for a long time, you know, and that's the problem with these things and how it can affect people. And maybe perhaps crucially, we looked at how you could see in the RSI or on the MACD that there was something giving you a confirmation, if you like, that your trade is going in the right way, or at least the market is with you on it, when in actual fact there could be an equal opposite idea happening on another chart or another oscillator at on the same time frame right there in front of your face that you might overlook because you're putting a bias in front of you first in the market. And how would you avoid these situations from being a big problem? Well, simply by having assessed your risk to reward in advance and what it was based on the scenario that you're looking at in that particular trade. If you choose just one thing to trade off the back of, such as breaks of Donchian channels, then okay, that's fine, just like I mentioned in The Way of the Turtle, a really good book about trading. However, you're not doing it with any degree of discretion, and you're going to find yourself exposed to these scenarios where if you had looked at a couple other things, maybe you'd have had a different approach to that particular context or that particular situation at the time. And that's how you put these things together. And of course, what you want to be doing as well is looking across the time frames and building up that narrative. Right. Okay, so stream marker here, and then let's kind of stick together a video. Where's my volume at? I told it to come back. EMA, no, volume. Aha, good. Right. let's try and make a video. Okay, let's try and make a video really quick. We'll do this as a thing. As a thing. Do you notice, by the way, that up until the point when I started talking about bull traps and giving out educational material, we had twice the number of viewers, right? Up until then. During that time, we had people complain in the comments that all I do is talk about other people or something like that. Since then we've got a few likes, sure, whatever, but we've had the audience numbers go down by half. Okay, so previously I wasn't doing the TA. I had twice the viewers, and there was internet connectivity problems making it so that every so often half the people would just ditch the channel anyway. Then I started talking about stuff that will actually educate people and turn them into better traders for the benefit of one person really in the audience, because I think that helping one person is enough, and that probably I'll help more than that one person by doing it in this public forum here. And I didn't limit myself in time too much, and I tried my cotton socks off to give something that would be of some value to help a little bit. And no doubt people think, like, oh, he's still here, always learning, still here. People watch it and think, God, this guy, his channel will explode one day. Well, I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it ain't going to happen, right? And especially if I keep putting you first. No offense, but especially if I keep putting you first. The only way that this channel will grow is if people log in and see how I'm telling people that in the group that you need to pay access to get into, there was some information which would have normally been available for free on my channel 4 to 8 days earlier, right? Normally, at least a couple of days to a week or 10 days earlier, you probably had a rough idea about how things were going to pan out. What I need to do is leave it to the very last second, post something in a premium group, and that's the only way that the channel will grow, okay? And if I want to be here in 2022 doing the same sort of thing, then I'm going to need the channel to grow, which means that I'm going to need to stop putting you first. And I don't want to. I started this channel with the intention of putting you all first. When Damo asked me recently what's my mission statement, really, putting you, the audience, first was a big part of that. It's not going to work, okay? And it's not for lack of trying, and it's not that I don't want to. It makes me feel sick to have to completely flip everything. But if I don't completely flip everything, I'll not be here this time next year to keep doing this. Okay, that's just the situation that we're in. It just is. That's just the way it is, right? Yeah, I mean, I know you are. It's great. For live stuff, I think most people are looking current events. You should make some educational videos and charge for them. Save live streams for time critical material, maybe. I don't know. No, you're right, Stanley. Exactly. You're right. What I needed to do was say, always learning. You're my good friend. Thank you for tuning in. That's an ideal. I'll add it to a list. At some point, I'll put that then in the educational videos, which if you want to see, you can pay to see. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to talking about what's happening right now in Bitcoin. Despite the fact that I already explained everything that's happening on Bitcoin 5 to 10 days ago. I mean, it's proof that I explained it. I could show you, can you see message history on Discord? It's edited out, but can I see what I edited the history from? I could prove to you that I explained it all 10 days ago, but I can't, here we are. So let's just do the Stanley Knife method for a wee while. Stanley Knife method. In my opinion, it comes down to, do you want to give a man a fish or teach a man to fish? I've been teaching men to wage war against fish. I don't just teach a man to fish, like, great. That's like teaching a man some dueling skills. No, it's not just you one-on-one, you and the fish. This is you and, I'm talking thousands upon thousands of fish. You just slaughtering them, mowing them down with a flamethrower. That's what I teach people to do. I don't teach people to fish. I teach people to commit fish genocide, So this is why it's so discursive today, okay? So I want you to understand always learning, right? I wanted to do that, not just for you, but for everybody who's watching along, so that we'd all understand. And like looking at things like the play between the MACD and the RSI and around about those peak times or those troughs, or understanding why the most talked about stock in the world, why it actually had its low before it rose up, which is what that was, by the way. That was a brief explanation of the TA in it around about the cheapest you could have bought GameStop before it went up to the $200 areas and stuff like that. That was the start. That was the trap, the bear trap, which led to hedge funds losing £20 billion. And I just explained how that happened, right? And explained what the stupid hedge fund would have had to have looked at to have not been in that scenario, and how the stupid hedge fund should have managed its risk appropriately. I explained all of that right there. And to them, it was a £20 billion lesson, okay? 20 to $30 billion, right? I'm not joking, okay? That's what it was. And I wanted to do that there for you. I can't do that anymore, man. I can't. It's like Stanley now says. I need to take that section, stick it in a paid for video, and I'll do it maybe after this video or whatever. Stick it in an education playlist that's not here for free consumption, which is behind a paywall, or the channel won't grow, because people want to see other people paying for stuff for them to know that it's worth it. Moreover, they want to pay for it themselves, or they'll not value it. They just won't, okay? So this needs to happen, which is at the detriment of every single person in the community so far that's up to now. Is that your detriment? I'm sorry, but it is, right? But it's ultimately for your good, because otherwise the community just goes away. Also, by the way, people don't forget, I did say earlier on, if you want to get involved in running the community and to take a portion, and I'm happy to pay people a portion of the Patreon income that I get from the channel and stuff like that, then you can. Yeah, right? I could even do an affiliate scheme thing, right? Here we go. For everybody who gets somebody else to join up to the Patreon, I'll give them, what do they do on exchanges and stuff like that? I'll make it better. 10%. You don't get that from an exchange. I'll give you 10%. 10% of their first payments will go to you. But to get it, you have to say that you have to, I don't know, you have to tell me what's going on or something like that, because I can't tell. There is no affiliate thing. But I could do that if you wanted to. I don't care. I just want the channel to live. I want to help everybody. I don't want to work for hedge funds ever again, by the way, always learning. I don't want to work in the investment banking world at all. Honestly, right, here it is though. If this channel doesn't get me to the point where I'm making more than the income that I would make by working for one of the companies which is within 500 meters, that's actually a lie. It's more like 700 meters, but right? Let's not get too pedantic on things. From the front door of the building that I'm in, where they have some of the biggest companies in the world. This Scotland might be a tiny country, right? It might be a tiny country, but I could literally go out onto the street there and throw a stone through the window of some of the top 10 hedge funds in the entire world in terms of the assets that they manage, right? I used to work for one company that was the biggest custodian bank in the world. Okay, I don't want to do it, right? I don't want to do it. But if I'm going to waste half my week, right, all the time, and the reason I'm doing it is because I want social interaction. I want a routine. I don't want to act and live like a retired person in my 30s. I don't want that. I want to have a and I actually also want to help people. But if I can give up on helping people, just give up on helping people, then I can get all of the other aspects from a place down the road that'll pay me massive money for this stuff, right? And that's for real. I mean, what is the biggest one in the world at the minute? Is Aberdeen Asset Management the biggest in the world at the minute? Is it? Whose headquarters are just over there? Are they the biggest ones? I don't know. Anyway, you guys, every single last one of you know that it's important. But I'm talking about what I need to do. So like, what I need to do is to start off a channel. Actually, this is what I need to do, right? Let's just do the video together, right? For what I need to do. It'll be a little bit rough and ready because I've never done one of these before, really. But this is what I need to do. Okay, so we'll start off with we'll go with my intro here. And we'll say, The Bitcoin prices are in jeopardy. Amazing work. No, amazing. It's really hard for me to be so disingenuous, right? But I'm going to have to try really hard here. So just bear with me. The Bitcoin prices are extremely... God, this is hard. Right. So I need to think of a few sentences in advance. There's crazy stuff happening in Bitcoin. There's amazing Bitcoin pricing. I have this emergency video for you to watch. A warning that's coming to you now that you really need. I really hope you pay attention to it because you really need to know about it. Right? It's super important, exceptionally important right now. This is just a minute before, and I don't even know what we're going to talk about yet, but it'll be at least as good as what Crypto does, right? And this is what makes me feel disgusted. You know, this is what makes me feel disgusted, right? But let's do it. Let's just do what the people want, okay? And then move all of the stuff which has the value, like I was saying, into behind a paywall. It just has to happen, right? It just has to happen. I'm sorry, folks, but anyway, this will still be better than anything else that you're watching on YouTube, and it'll still have great information in it. And every time I've aspired to do anything like this, I've reverted to type within 10 seconds, okay? So, you know, despite my best intentions right now, the chances of me actually pulling off a terrible video are really, really low. I'll probably regress and go back to explaining what's actually happening within 2 minutes, okay? But we'll try. My friends, Bitcoin prices are extremely important right now. You need to know what I'm going to be telling you. If you don't, then you will be in jeopardy. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to trade Bitcoin and make a lot of money. I want you to be able to trade and win. But, fuck, it's just so shit. It's just so shit. Right, give me another chance at that, please, people. If you want to... right, this is really hard. Urgent, hit the emergency like button. Thank you so much. Right, good. Right. These facts need to be boasting about. Yeah, okay. Trade Spotting's not here at the minute, by the way. He's just gone away out somewhere. I know this because I talked to him about his schedule before I went live. Maybe I become a moderator for you. Well, always learning. Yeah, totally, man. You are here quite a lot, and I would really appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That is what it is. It is. Artie, you're right. Trey, you're right. Let's try again. Okay. Oh, all right. So yeah, right. Well, let's just try again. The Bitcoin prices are about to explode. There is a lot of things happening right now that you need to know about if you want to trade Bitcoin with any degree of success at all. It is extremely dangerous out there. If you don't know these key levels in the Bitcoin prices, then honestly, my friends, you're putting your money at risk. I'm going to tell you in this video exactly how I'll be trading Bitcoin, the key areas that I'll be looking to over the next day, 12 hours, 4 hours, and this week. If you want to know that and more, hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I need to see the likes on this video. I want to see, if the likes on this video can explode up the way, then that's great. It lets me know to keep making videos like this one here. If you do not like it, then you're not in Bitcoin, my friend. Let's roll these intros and let's get into the charts. Hello, my friends. This is the Bitcoin chart that I have up here on screen right now, the 24-hour Bitcoin chart. And as you can see, the prices are, of course, trending towards the top side, but there are some key areas for us. 3 key numbers, really, if we want to narrow it down to that for us. We can see that right now the prices are in at around about 47,000. And in fact, this is one of those key prices. I'm just going to draw in the key prices with some horizontal lines actually. So 47,000 is a key price for us right now. Up towards the top side, then actually 58,000 is a key price, but really, you know, we need to be going in and putting in higher highs. We need to put in higher highs or we're looking in some jeopardy right now. And the key price towards the downside right now is, ladies and gentlemen, $42,000. There's a few reasons for that, but I'm going to try and keep it as accessible as possible and put in literally as little detail and education, or indeed stuff of real valuable substance to you. Tune in for the other videos, by the way, they're really great, as possible in this video. Right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to point out a couple of things, a couple of really important things. A 24-hour time frame, I've done enough on this one for you. That's your emergency over. No, sorry, guys, I lost my attitude for a second there. I need to get back into the role. Breathe. Guys, if the prices close 2 or 3 or more days below 47,000, it is absolutely terrible. We're looking at a 15% drop in Bitcoin, almost guaranteed at that point. Right, I basically already said that, but I needed to say it in that emergency warning voice for it to actually register, right? Anyway, on the 4-hour time frame, what we can see is that the prices have come in and put in another low, lower than the previous low just here. We've actually managed to go lower, okay? But what we're seeing is here that the prices have not managed to push the oscillators any lower, but they have themselves gone lower, okay? That is, of course, bullish divergence, and that could give us a nice reason to look for a move towards the top side. What I'm looking at therefore then here over on the 12-hour time frame is if we will crack on down any lower than 46,229 before taking any trades towards the downside, and of course remembering to use stops because we're in a bull market and that shorting in a bull market is exceedingly dangerous. And I'm looking towards the top side and I'm saying, is this hidden pattern that nobody's looking at and nobody's aware of going to make the difference for us in the Bitcoin prices right now, guys? Because yes, if you were to draw a pattern around this end of this downward phase here, what we're seeing is, guys, what we're seeing right here, right now, is a wedge, and it is of course a bullishly strengthened wedge which could break out with movements, significant movements over the next day or two or 12 hours or 4 hours or whatever it happens to be above the 47,700 area. Now I'm going to look for confirmation on that. I'm going to look at the oscillators to see if they confirm what I'm talking about at the time. I'm going to look at volume to see if they confirm what I'm talking about at the time. I'm not going to bother explaining that just here because I mean I'm literally competing with the bottom feeders on YouTube with this video right now. My normal TA is several degrees more complicated than this, but there will be reasons, right? They don't explain the reasons. I can't be bothered explaining them. Be sure to hit the like button though. And we're looking up here towards 52,000 as the measure move over this. This is actually legit TA. This is for real, but I'm not going to go into any more detail than it right now. I'm just going to leave you with that bullish scenario. I did obviously start off with all the warning chat and everything else, but I'm going to tell you that the prices are going here just now to make it nice and easy. It makes me feel a bit sick doing that. But then if we did get break towards the downside, then you can see this lined up with the horizontal that I put in there already. And there you go. Oh, also, I am not a financial advisor. Thanks, by the way, Always Learning, for sticking that in there. I'd have forgotten to say that if it wasn't for that. So cool. That is the TA. No explanations happening for anybody. I've explained everything I needed to explain anyway, right? I mean, what do people really? What do people want? What do you want? Give the people get what the people want. Oh, I'm going underground. Right, and today the Bitcoin price, it's around 47,265, exactly as predicted. That's right, Trey. So we should have done a bit of that. Here's another quick Bitcoin video. I'll publish this one with a schedule on it, right? So it's delayed, okay? So it's delayed to come out after the one that came out first, right? Okay. However, I need to make this one seem like everything that we spoke about in the previous one has actually already made me right, even though nothing's changed at all. This is going to be a hard video to pull off, but be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see me publishing this one with a slight delay on it. And we'll call this one, we'll call the first one the like emergency warning, right? And then we'll call this one something like Bitcoin prices exactly as predicted, okay? And exactly, we'll call it that, exactly. Just need to somehow make it so that it seems believable when it isn't. Don't know. Is it even worth it? I mean, Sikander, you're right? I need to explain my complicated technical analysis because some of it's quite complicated. You're right. I do need to. And I waste so much effort explaining it into videos when they could just be part of a paid product that I put out there that enables people to understand what's going on here. Then by making it so it's complicated when you watch it, and then people say, I don't understand, what's he talking about? And I use a couple of little in-house phrases, then that'll help. I mean, here's a good example for you of an in-house phrase. It's one that Daniel uses on his Chart Champions thing. So he takes a fib retracement, right, and draws it in. Except what he's done is, I'll just do it exactly so you can see, make it yellow. So he's used that yellow there, and he's hidden off all of the numbers, right? All of the numbers, apart from this one, and I don't think it's that one. I think it's a bit wider than that one, and this one. Yeah, it's probably a bit wider than that. I think he probably uses something like 6.8. I didn't actually look at his thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not part of the Chart Champions group or anything like that. Then what we want to do is say move this to just how do we get it so it's less, right? That there, and then go middle. No. Where is it? He puts it. Is it that? I think that's it, right? And he goes, and the CC on this one right now is at 54,000. Okay, so that's what you'll get from Daniel's video today if you watch the whole thing. Is if he was looking out in this time frame, but of course he drops down the way. He tends to look at it slightly differently, and it's probably something more along these lines. And like I say, by the way, I actually think the guy's a nice guy. I like him. I think he's an effective trader. Everything else, I'm not being negative about him. I'm just telling you that he's got it figured out. He says, we come in for the CC on that. Oh no, wait, we obviously were at the CC on that one before, but now it's up here. And that's coming in at 49,000. The CC on this one is at 49,000. That's, Sikander, what I need to do, right? That's what I need to do, okay? Rather than explain, rather than say what the word is, why they use the word, what words you're allowed to use, explain everything and then how it would work and how you would normally choose the areas. And let's be honest. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people out there could say that they've seen me explain how to use Fibonacci's live on the show at least 100 times of a full explanation, which could make it into a paid course just on the show, for example. And I talked about bull traps, right? I explained bull traps. I explained the language behind them. I explained why they call it a bull trap or a bear trap. I even used little jokes talking about the trap on bears and the one that you have for cows. I then told you about how people will use bull traps and bear traps in certain situations, but it's not a pattern. This is stuff that's not on the textbook, that leaves, at the end of the day, you can then go away from having watched this episode and go and have a conversation with somebody who's a professional trader and has traded for decades, and they'll think, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, right? That's what they think about you at the end of it. Because I've told you, because I did that, because I've gone through all of that experience and I just gave it to you, and I know what it's like to be sat there as an experienced trader and thinking, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And I can identify the difference between those two things. And within that difference of identifying that, I've identified what you need to know to be able to learn everything yourself. So I teach you what you need to do to be able to learn everything else yourself. And then what happens is you go and do that. And then I get a direct message from you in about 6 months saying, hey, buddy, I really appreciate everything you did. In fact, you know what? You've completely changed my life. Stuff like that, right? And I think, yeah, nice one. But it doesn't help, okay? It doesn't help. You're wrong, Sikander. I need to do the exact opposite of that. Just so you know. Even a playlist would be great for us. Yeah, I'm going to make it all. I don't recommend the blockchain banker. Sorry, there's only I recommend trade spotting for people to watch on YouTube. I recommend Mitch Ray, although I've stopped doing that since he banned me from his Discord. And you know, I thought treated me not that nicely. Whatever though, I actually think he's a great guy and I still recommend him. And Eric Crown. Okay, there's those ones. And now I'm going to add Daniel from Chart Champions to the list as well. I'm just going to add Daniel to it as well because I think that I think that he's an effective trader and a good trader, right? Now, there's other ones I'd recommend in terms of personality, crypto stuff. Maybe you like the Moon, and in terms of brief, easy stuff. And then there's other ones that I'd recommend in terms of like YouTube channels that are out there trying to do their thing that I've not had enough time over the years to watch because they didn't start until I'd started my own channel. So I don't know how good they are or whatever, but I'd recommend you check them out, like Crypto Newton and Magic Internet Money. And in terms of Magic Internet Money, for instance, I think he's a really nice guy, and I encourage everybody who's a part of my community to go over there and give his channel a subscribe and help support the guy in his endeavor to make a YouTube channel. Okay, so you know that's what I think. But blockchain banker, I've never heard of the guy, mate. Sorry, no idea. We can't see the graph. Oh fuck, this whole time. Oh right, no, but I did the TA before you see the graph. This is just me on the intro video thing. I'll skip making that other one. I need to make 2 videos. Take the Mickey. I don't need to make that one at all. And I'm done here. Okay, so that's me done here. So right, just so everybody knows, I have done the TA that's good. I'm going to publish as a static video. Nobody asked me to take a look at Tezos. Nobody asked me to take a look at Ethereum, and nobody asked me to take a look at Chainlink. So I'm not gonna today. I'm afraid. So if anybody wonders why I'm not doing that, in fact, I'll make a video saying that right now. So let me just see. Let me just see. Hi Tezos friends, hi Chainlink friends, hi Ethereum friends. Nobody asked me to take a look at Ethereum, Tezos or Chainlink in today's live stream. So actually I didn't do that. Be sure you join us for the live stream if you want me to publish a static video in the future. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, look at that. Son Thomas just subscribed by Patreon. You should do that too. Sean, like, you're so nice. You're such a good guy. That what Sean Thomas has just done, by the way. What Sean Thomas has just done. I'm sure, and Sean, you probably don't want me saying this, and I apologize for saying stuff which is essentially private information. But Sean Thomas has now just gone ahead and pledged more to the Patreon every month than what I was able to afford to offer him to come and work for the channel. Right? I said to him yesterday that I'd give him 5% of the Patreon income to do stuff for the channel, which is less than the $25 that he's just gone ahead and pledged. Now there's a role model. There's a good guy. You know, I mean, there's a good guy, you know, and somebody who's a straight shooter, and I respect an awful lot. So I'm a bit blown away by that, Sean, to be honest with you, because like you know, and I did offer you what it would have been, what, $5 or something. It would have been maybe $7.50 or something I was going to offer you. Now because of your subscription, I could afford to offer you an additional $1 or something. Alright, okay. Right, okay. So yeah, you know, that's it. I am done here. I just want to make sure, scroll back up a bit, make sure I haven't missed anybody saying anything about Ethereum or whatever. I mean, God, it's so hard, isn't it? I revert to type every time, don't I? I revert to type every time. I sent you a donation, Rocky. Was that through the 1UP coin thing or whatever? The crypto one. It's not about the money all the time. No, it's not about the money. It's yeah. Yeah, I'm not in it for the money either, but that's what the main thrust of this episode's been about. But yeah, yeah, I revert to type all the time. Anyway, I can't have people going out into the wilderness without knowing a couple of things. Like, let's just have a quick look here and see what we've got on the go. Yes, okay, so there's this bullish divergence. Be aware of the fact that the wicks pushed on down the way. Be aware of the fact that this wick down here as well exists. Exists as a wick. Rejection wicks are quite poor. Let me just give you a quick example from Bitcoin as to rejection wicks being fairly poor. Here's a 1 hour time frame. You can see this was a big sort of rejection wick, if you like, but then of course the prices followed it on down past that road it discovered, and then it became a fairly beaten path thereafter. So just as a quick sort of shout out to people, you'll often see people talking about these things as saying it's a big rejection over there. As you can see, it did precipitate further price movement towards the top side, and as well it was in decent enough percentage move, 5% or so, but then actually we saw that the prices capitulated and went down 20 odd % thereafter. So you can see that. So unless you see a reversal at a certain point, then that's not really the case. That's not really the thing to be looking to. In general, this is a rather small one, and it is at a point where there could be a reversal, etc. But then this is where you would then be looking to put any stops in if you were long in this, because frankly, this is the price is going past $1,400 at this point. It's not worth the risk. I mean, obviously, then you'd be hoping for the prices to turn around at $1,369, and maybe that means that you're sitting managing your trade, like thinking, oh gosh, about this particular $40, but when the prices are at $14.79 and I'm telling you that the prices going down past $1,400 aren't worth carrying it on that extra $30, it's the $79 that you've lost between here and there that are the actual issue, not me saying not to keep going losing any more on top, right? Anyway, moving on past that, the point that we're at the minute is a decent enough one if we want to see the prices turn around. Now, I'm going to have to change this off of the whole CC. I'm going to guess that Chart Champions is just used a CC zone there as a sort of chart champion zone or something along those lines when he's talking, is part of his branding and be like an in joke. But anyway, we're at the 236 right now at 1478. Obviously, I don't want to see the prices dropping down below 1478 in terms of the retrace back up from the move that we've had just now. There is the potential for this to be considered to be bullish divergence. It's not exactly it's not exactly fantastic. Same the bodies closed lower than the previous bodies, whereas the wicks are lower. That's why I'm saying it's potential as well. Just kind of, a little bit dismissive of this one in the sense that as well as low enough term time frame, but that's what we're looking to on this one over the period of the next 24 hours, because we've already done the measured move, as much as we really need to, but we haven't done what Fibonacci would kind of suggest is the next stop for us, and that would be coming down to just to that 1293 area, which of course is not something that you want to carry a move from 1479 down to just to watch it turn around from there and go up the way. You're better off keeping your powder dry. Now, if we do go up at the minute, then that's cool. And what am I really suggesting? Well, I'm suggesting that you manage your risk fairly sort of tightly in this area until we've moved past the point where you'll be able to put your trade into profit, right? Okay, so there's your TA on Ethereum. Now, of course, a lot of people have found that particularly unusual TA, and they're right to think that. That's what you're getting, though. That'll be really helpful for a lot of people. For everybody else, I don't particularly care right now, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it will be helpful for a lot of people. For other people, I really don't mind. If it wasn't helpful for you, that's cool. There's plenty of other videos. The main issue that we had here with regards to Chainlink was whether or not we would be seeing the prices breaking down past the point of our support line, and that ultimately that did happen with a big movement at that time. This was like a channel and various other things. We came right up to the very top of this pitchfork. What have we done since? Well, let's just kind of simplify this again and say that from the pitchfork point of view, we've come down below the median line. Now we're just making it back above the median line at the minute. At $26 is a crucial level for Chainlink. If we don't capture 26, then the next target's naturally going to be 22. Okay, we spoke about this recently. Between was it whatever 22.22? That again remains that price point to be aware of. Now, what we have on the go that's positive for us are things like the ability to kind of stay above this area in general, or the crucial need to, whatever, positive, negative, whatever, and then looking at this and saying which of these do you want to identify as being your last low. I mean, there's several of them, but where we are just now could obviously conceivably be a low, and on the MACD then you've got that hidden bullish divergence if that's what you're looking for as well. If you're looking at any of these lows along the way up, the way saying they're your last low, we've also got hidden bullish divergence on the RSI. So there's that. Oh, the other thing from Daniel's video, swing failures, right? You want to talk about swing failures now again. Swing failures. So you can do what Daniel did when you talk about stuff, which is what people from the world of trading do. You just take a word which is used for something else already, and then you apply it to your own understanding. Keep talking about it until it becomes accepted, and then you have a word with multiple definitions again and again and again, or a phrase. And one of those is now swing failure. So there's a swing failure and it works in a particular way. Watch Daniel's video from Chart Champions today. Just go ahead and search it. It's got all your Bitcoin stuff in it that you want to see. He talks about swing failures and how you would see one, how you identify it. That's not, if you were to go out and take the textbook about what a swing failure is, that's not what that was. It's not it. That's fine. That's fine. But incidentally, I am interested in swing failure points in terms of, are we going to be seeing this RSI move down past the low over here, right? In terms of the swing failure towards the top side, by the way, with Chainlink, because people want to know, and I want to tell people what's accurate, is this was our high and this was our previous high. This was our high and this was our previous high. That's bearish divergence. At a high, prices moved down. When we went past this low over here of the RSI previously, when the RSI moved past its previous low, you had a swing failure. Okay, that's a textbook definition of one. And as we can see, in effect, this was the movement that took us down past the down to our low over here. Okay. So just as well, just because it's hard to see, I just had to move this line out of the way. There was a massive wick over there, so we actually had the swing failure, had a recovery, giving you an opportunity to buy into this at this candle here, and carry it on down the way for that swing failure, if that's what you're trading for in a short position at the confirmation of moving out past the wedge. Okay, so that's highly technical stuff. It's much easier to talk about this in terms of just not using things accurately, and instead to say we had a swing failure over here. As you can see, we came up towards our high, and then when we moved down, when price action took out these lows over here, then I thought that's a swing failure, and I've confirmed it now at this point, and we've moved on down the way, right? That is the Chart Champions swing failure definition as according to Daniel circa 2021. And that's fine. And that's totally good. And I think, and like I said, very clearly, he's on that list of the 4 people on YouTube that I recommend people watch. Okay? So there you go. I'm not saying anything negative about the guy. I've been very clear on that. And I've educated about regards to what a swing failure is, and of course the fact that we had one there on Chainlink, and now looking back down to seeing whether or not there's anything else that's going to happen for us, right? Just generally speaking, for us. So anyway, yeah, that's the score. That's the score over this. Now here we are looking at the most complicated indicator in the world of technical analysis. So I appreciate that not everybody watching is going to know or want to know or care or anything about this, but 24-hour time frame, not looking good. Okay, it's just not until such times as the prices actually turn around and start looking good. First step for that, $26. Let's get $26. Let's take out the median line of the pitchfork, and we can start to look at things getting better. Okay, $26 naturally leads on to higher targets thereafter. What I'm talking about there is what we need to see to start things to start looking like they're going to look positive, because this ain't going to start looking positive just all of a sudden for no goddamn reason. Or is the RSI or the MACD or the no sure thing or any other indicator in the world or the moving averages or the price action itself Nothing will. Okay, and here's another tip for you as well. It's like people used to trade before they had candlestick charts, before they had oscillators, before they had computers that work it out for you all on the fly live. You know, people get so distracted by the TA that they forget about what trading actually is. And trading involves looking at the price, and that is why you always put price action first. But when people say that, they don't explain it. Price action needs to start going towards the top side. Now, if we need to see that happen, and it needs to take out 26, and that's going to look along these sorts of lines, and that's your explanation. That's what people mean when they say price action matters. Is that's what they're trying to get at. Obviously, they don't really do it to that degree, but that's what they mean. So yeah, we want to be seeing like a complete lack of a cross on a lower term time frame for these, right? If we do see one though, I wouldn't necessarily judge that as being real until such times as we've really trended towards a downside, although it would be the first start of that. And when I say I don't really trust it as real, I said I would highly anticipate a retest of both of those moving averages should we see a cross on this chart, and then it would only be after a failure to having retested those, the confirmation, if you like, that I would then be saying that the trend is fully on the show, because I made the determination after the Head and Shoulders high in September 2020 to stop telling people when we've come to real big pivot points in the market. It's been hard for me because I've gone ahead and done it a few times since, like several times already. Tezos and Chainlink and Ethereum and Bitcoin as well, done it several times. However, I made that commitment to myself, and I'm going to try and stick with it. So I'll be waiting for the charts to be showing us that, in a way that's irrefutable, basically after it's already happened. It's the same chats that we've had from this entire episode, right? I'm not going to just say it to people anymore at all. Where are we right now with this one? Not in that position. No, we're not in that position yet. Things don't look good as it's sat here on the 4-hour time frame below the 200 simple moving average. What can I say? I can't speak about this in a way that puts it above the 200 simple moving average on the 4-hour time frame. I can't. So that's where we are. But on the 24-hour time frame, obviously we're just testing off the 50, and that's much better. And on the 12-hour time frame, we're between these two, and etc. So instead, what I'm saying to you is that I'm not going to really make any sort of real negative comments about this until these have certainly at least crossed negatively here and stayed that way. First off, then are we going to go back up and test this 200 simple on the 1-hour time frame? Are we going to? I wonder if we'll see it happen like a test, and if it happens like a test, then I really wonder what we'll see, how we'll see the prices react thereafter, or if it'll actually break it, and then that'll carry up towards the higher time frames. And I'm looking at that $26 area. There you go. Making people money, making people lots and lots of money over here, ladies and gentlemen. And then, right, okay, so we've done that. This is Tezos here. We did that. It was not ideal. It's ended. We talked about how this could actually have, at the time, we talked about this as being like the positive case scenario to be drawn out. But in actual fact, what you were looking at is it could have just as easily or more easily have been this, as we spoke about at the time as well, but then and then you had this measured stick move here, which, as you can see, lines up, and then that would take you down to here, right? Okay, and we went a little bit beyond, which is okay, because going a little bit beyond at this point here, what did that really mean? It meant we were going in for a golden pocket retrace. I'm happy enough with it going a bit beyond the measuring stick, if that's what it's looking at. This is what happened. Then we've recovered towards the top side so far, right? But the question is, are we looking at a bear flag right here? Like, are we, or are we not? Because in terms of this having downward sloping top on it, we are. In terms of it looking like that, then we are, I suppose. But it's a bit of a hard one to say because of the overall scraggly shape of the nature of this thing and the fact that it's broadening out. So I don't really like that as a bear flag. Also, this pull all the way down, it's not very good. 4-hour time frame a bit better for it. Yeah, it's not great, is it? It's not great. But instead, what you've got here is potentially a classic W pattern here. If you like them, I know that Tony does if he's watching. If you're out there, Tony, then look for a W on that one maybe. And then you've also got all of the sort of psychological implications that go along with this area, right? All of them that go along with it. So what are they? Well, you've got the neckline feature. So all these drawings. I don't want these drawings. I kind of do though, because like I said with the 618, I'll leave them there. You've got this like neckline feature. You've got this doubly top feature. You've got so what I'm trying to say is here is that you've got the neckline idea. So that's the psychology of necklines. Okay, so anything you've ever read about twin peak patterns like head and shoulders, etc., or W's or confirmation lines. Basically, confirmation line is interchangeable with neckline, and that's what I'm talking about there. Then you've got your twin peak area. Okay, so these speak for themselves as far as I'm concerned. They speak for themselves. If I was doing the TA for myself, this is what I'd be looking at. Instead, what I tend to do is then go on and explain all these things in detail, which I'm not going to do right now. And then of course you've got the key question of whether or not this low is lower than this one, and how much does that necessarily even matter overall in terms of that how much does that matter? That's that question for you. You've also got the way that these oscillators look down below as compared to the prices here, and you really have to ask, how does that look for you? It's not just one. It's not just one. It's actually all of them. It's all of them. So you'd have to ask yourself that. Then on the 24-hour time frame, this negative cross here, again, like I say, I can't magically just make the prices have changed. We're going to have to wait for that to happen, price action first. But we can also look at the way that this low is so as low as it is, but the price itself never took out this inflection zone. We did, of course, go past the 618, but we didn't close below it. So you might want to think about that. Again, Sikander, by the way, if you're wondering, do I ever explain things? Like what I should do is explain things. I hope this is demonstrating to at least some people out there that I do explain things, because look at the amount of information I'm talking about here. What? Yeah, I don't mean to be mean to you. I don't mean to be mean to you. Sorry. Just you said I should explain things, and I'm trying now to, just in this for a bit here, to not explain anything, just so you can see that I do explain things, right? I do all the time. Anyway, there's your TA on that one. And a 24-hour time frame, yeah, I mentioned this thing which exists on this here, which has an implication for the prices. Definitely worth thinking about. Then I would also probably normally explain about the position of this, which is an oscillator, has a name and all, and I would normally talk about whether or not we're looking at that and asking questions about if it crosses, etc. And I'd also would take a look here at this thing and say, oh yeah, we did cross over there. That was at that point, and I'd probably then also explain about where that cross happened in relation to the price action itself, and if we can get another cross afterwards. I have to admit though, I mean, this thing is quite high up. Overall, it is quite high up, really. Let's just be honest about it. And I would, and for the benefit of people who who already understood everything that I've said, but are looking for like that extra bit that I normally give. I am worried about what we talked about here with regards to the large term time frame, overall structure of the market, where we could be going if we don't stick to the plan. Okay. Right, so that's a real thing to be aware of, and it's maybe also worth kind of looking at a couple of ideas about where the golden pocket is on the all-time highs and lows with regards to our previous areas and numbers that we may have mentioned in the past several times, and the significance there of that area, and if we did push past that, what that would mean going forwards for us, okay, and the significance of it, because it'd be very significant, especially actually I think as well here, worth pointing out, that we're over here talking about this, how that impact that would have with regards to any notions you might have about finding a bottom in here on Bitcoin, right? If that were to happen on the dollar pricing. Now, for people who think that the dollar pricing is less important than the Bitcoin pricing, rude awakening time. on that one, until such times as something changes. Oh, you explain things thoroughly and beautifully, don't worry. What I'm saying is that do that and make small clips so you can refer back and take notes. Does that make sense? But otherwise you explain. Yeah, thanks, Sikander. Yeah, I really need to, but it's hard. I'm a one-man band over here, really, essentially. It's hard for me to do these streams that last for a significant period of time and then spend the hours it takes to make the videos, and the hours it takes, and all the time you're just shoveling more and more effort into a black hole of take. It's hard, right? So what I've been asking people recently, and I've got a couple of responses so far, and I still want more, and I want your one, Sikander. You've not actually told me, I don't think yet, what people who are new to trading need to know. You know what you want to know, like right now. You know what you've learned recently and how useful or not useful that's been. So you would probably be able to turn around to yourself if you like had a clone and say, hey, Sikander, these are the things that I, future Sikander, can tell you that you need to know starting out, right? And I had this idea in my head when I started trying to make my course there a couple months ago, 2 months ago, that I would be able to do that. Like, think, hey, Rocky, let me just imagine jumping into a time machine and going back. Yeah, I can't. I'm so far away. I'm so far removed from that now, especially even the way my brain works. I'm so far removed away from what your average person wants to hear or needs to hear. Although I'm really confident that I could do that if I just knew what it was that they want me to tell them. So if you can send me an email, do that. Or you've sent me messages directly on the Discord, just send me another one there with everything that you want to know. Hiya, Byte Stream. Hope you're doing well. I think I'll be good at providing the perspective of someone not in the industry. Yes, exactly. Yeah, great. Stanley Knife, stop Stanley Knife. Stop giving away numbers to people who didn't. Who stop giving away the numbers to people. Stanley Knife, putting that out there in the chat. I was trying to be really, really secretive about everything, and you start sticking that in. My God. Essentially, what I was saying, by the way, is that if you were to drop below the number that Stanley Knife is talking about there, then this would have a completely horrendous effect on the price here for us in versus Bitcoin, unless on the one instance where we got a real alt season, because there was only ever really one alt season before, and that came at a time when Bitcoin prices were dropping 50%, then rising up 40, then dropping another 50, i.e. a bear trend that was pretty horrific. And that was when the alt season was really, really good last time. So that would be cool. We could have one of those alt seasons. That would be nice. And then I wouldn't care about what the price of the dollar one was, and I'd be looking at I would care a lot, but I'd be looking at the Bitcoin chart a lot as well and saying, look, we can go past these areas, etc., etc. But when everybody's putting their interest into Bitcoin, it's the Bitcoin's charts leading the Bitcoin charts. The Bitcoin versus US dollar chart is leading all of the Bitcoin charts. So your Ethereum Bitcoin, your Link Bitcoin, your Tezos Bitcoin, and they're fairly big, liquid, well-traded coins. Talk about some crap coin you've never heard of before. Well, that's not got a chance. The Bitcoin chart versus USD is leading all other Bitcoin charts, and that's why I'm looking at the dollar ones all the time, without question. When somebody asks me, it's dollar first, probably, until such times as that changes. The easiest way for that to change is for people to be less interested in Bitcoin going up. Instead, they're looking for their bank balance to go up, so they're looking to get more dollars in their bank balance, or indeed more Bitcoin, if that's how they want to think, in a market where it's actually depreciating in value versus other assets, in which case, yes, then you're talking about alt season. Like, then you're talking properly, then you're looking at the charts. So we've explained everything, and I should maybe go and find one random coin out there that's got a bit of popularity about it right now, so I can do a bonus coin. I suppose I've gone completely back on myself in terms of not going to do any TA in today's episode, but maybe I'll just not bother making the clips. How about that? Bitcoin Cash stuff, super not interested, don't care if the world is. Cardano, I suppose Cardano, Ravencoin, Cardano, yeah, okay, I'll take a look at Cardano, maybe. Cardano real quick, if I can be bothered. Right, it's managed to buck the trend, fantastic, doing really well. Doing really, really well. I hope, Sikander, I hope that in any of these 20% drops down, if you were looking to get into it, that you did. You know, if you did, or if you've still not traded it and whatever, then that's totally understandable as well. I know what it's like. It can be a really harsh environment out there to operate in. We now need to see the prices obviously staying above $1 over 115, but I'd say there's a decent chance of us getting a withdrawal down the way. Yeah, if we do go past if at any given time in this period we go past the 236, it looks like we're going to get a solid 20% withdrawal at least, in terms of the price. So I'd look out for that. It's obviously a bit bearishly divergent here in the 24-hour time frame, so there's that, but that's what we're getting again and again and again with regards to the all-time highs. It happens in all-time highs, by the way, folks. This is what happens with them. It's like typical stuff. We've got this upward movement. That low there is a little bit kind of abhorrent in terms of creating a difference in the pattern, but you're still talking about an overall channel here essentially, which we could be turning around at, in which case the next best buy point would be about $1.06 for us on that if it were to happen, resulting in a 20% drop off in the price. There you go. That's probably what we're looking to on this one. If you want, does anybody want to see a profit taking target? You might. Next one's 144. Done. I'm not going to make that into a clip on its own. That's just for everybody out there. Right, so what I'm doing now is I'm going back over to the chat room and I'm catching up with you all before I say cheerio. Not the chat room, but you know what I mean, the YouTube comments. And I'm catching up with you all before I say cheerio. Or whatever, if I can find the tab, and then I'm going. Where is the tab? I'm so frustrated with myself. Why can I not learn to keep everything in one browser and stuff like that? Why do I have to have my tab open where I got the rocket ship clip art about 2 weeks ago still open on my computer? Why do I need that after all this time's gone by? Really, what am I thinking? There we have it. There's the chat. Great. Nice one. Let me just read through a bit of this and then say cheerio to folk, okay? Could you do a viral video? Could be a viral video to make, like, say, UK crypto ban would draw a crowd. Yeah, I know, man. But this is something I wanted to talk about, FCAO, crypto derivative and ETF ban. Yeah, I've talked about that a couple of times on the channel. It's not really done anything in terms of interest. But yeah, you're right. I think there's a few things. One, I think that I think that it's one of these ones that when you look at the initial ruling on the thing, that it's something that they're going to come back and revisit. It's impossible not to. They did it essentially because they decided 3.5 years ago, that if they hadn't made a decision within 3 years, they would make this decision, which was the decision that they made. Okay, that was quite obvious in the way they were talking, and as well in the need what they were saying is that we need to have something say to us that we can't make this decision or else it's the wrong decision to make. Not we're doing this because it's the right decision to make, but we have to have something tell us not to do it so that we don't make the wrong decision. Okay, they were operating from that basis. So they were looking at things like whether or not there's a need for crypto derivative trading for retail traders, and it's like, whenever the FCC enters into whenever the FCA enters into an arena of language, which is kind of like a bit like, then you know that they're going to come back in the time and reassess things. Now, it could obviously get worse. It just means that they never really actually did the job. They just had it on a calendar, and eventually time went by and they had to act, right? But there isn't a single need for any human being to be able to have, as a retail trader, to be able to have access to futures markets for oil, right? As a retail trader, there isn't a need for that. There isn't a fundamental need. So that's not what the FCA bases its decision on, but it said it did then. Anyway, that's enough for that, right? Broxy, good to see you, mate. Not seen you in a while. You must be happy at the minute, by the way. Not long to go now, my friend. I see what you say there. I disagree. Because obviously it's one, right? It's one. Okay. Let's be clear about this. It's one. Anyway, great, nice one. Basically, you're all guilty until proven innocent. Yes, that's right. That's right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always learning. Thank you so much for tuning in, Broxy. Good to see you there, buddy. I knew it would be your year. Good to see you, dude, man. I'm going to read back through this stuff in the future. Help me clearly identify a simple strategy and a bit of psychology to be able to execute. Okay, maybe that's what we do in next week's videos, is try and narrow it down to that sort of a thing. Bit of that sort of chat. Bite Stream, good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining in. Stanley Knife, really do appreciate you being here as well. Sikander, you're always you're friendly and I like you. Thanks for being here. Sabaton 8-bit. That's cool, that name. I wonder what you're all about. That's cool. Whenever you've got a YouTube channel, if you do, if anybody watching has a YouTube channel, wants a shout out, give me a nod. I'll give you a shout out. Okay, Doc, good to have you here. Thanks so much. There's also a Pickled Rick and a Jerry. Yes, of course, as well. There's that on the charts. I forgot to mention the old Pickled Rick and Jerry, but they were very much there. Thanks, Sean Thomas, for tuning in and showing your support. Sean Thomas, who became a Patreon member today. Let me just share a link in here in the chat thing for everybody who's like curious, like, oh, what if I wanted to become one too? What would I have to do? Patreon.com/rocky.outcrop. There we go. There's a link for anybody who wants that. By the way, as well, get in touch with me if you want to. There you go. We can chat about stuff. Drew's Tech, thank you so much. One Up Coin XTZ, awesome. That's cool. I got some Tezos. Nice one. Thanks so much. Going to replenish my Tezos after having spent some of it recently. Thank you so much for having done that. I really do appreciate it. Yes. What else have we got here? Drew's Tech, thank you, buddy. I don't know why it didn't show up though. That's really frustrating. In fact, I really want it to show up, so I'll just open up the old thingy and see if I've got a notification coming in. Build the paywall. Yeah, totally. Mexi dude, thanks so much for tuning in. RT Pile, thanks so much for tuning in. Dude man, Randy K, thanks so much for joining. Please draw a bullish flag house. A bullish flag house. I can't draw bullish flag houses, I'm afraid. Sorry. I've got no hands. So can't do it, I'm afraid. If I had hands, then I would, but Mexi dude, yeah, cheers. Dude man, yes, Crush. It's so funny. Love you, Rocky. Thank you so much, Crush. Really do appreciate that. Monkey Magic gave me a lol earlier on. Thank you so much, Monkey Magic. Dan Anthony, fantastic guy. He was crying earlier. I love making people cry. I'm happy I did that. That sounds bad, doesn't it? But I meant for crying for good, for power of good. For the live stuff, I think people are looking for current events. Yeah, you're right. I need to change things up. I'm going about it wrong. I'm working hard, not smart, right? I think we can all agree on that. It's kind of the thesis today. Emery Varol, that's cool. Can you check out Near, please? Sorry, no, I can't check out Near. Couldn't have checked it out. Even if I'd read your comment at the time, mate, I wouldn't have done it. I wasn't going to just do it today. You could have paid me and I'd have done it, but I wasn't going to do it today. I'm not interested. You're lucky I did Chainlink, Ethereum, and Tezos technical analysis, to be perfectly fair. I wasn't going to do it today. It's just the way it is. Zoner, thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Crypt, have I gone deaf, or are you using a borrower's microphone so quiet? Oh god, well I hope that's not been like that this whole time. Sorry, man. Sorry if that's the case. Sorry to everybody. Tim Draper, 250k Bitcoin 2022. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Nice one. Shall we all do it? Let's all do it, right? Let's all do it. It won't make us any more famous or anything else. It makes him more famous because, fame begets fame and all the rest of it. But yeah, what do you want? I'll go with 200. Why? Don't care. Is it realistic? No, it's not. What's going to actually happen is there's going to probably, if it continues doing what it's been doing, and of course you'll not see this on the stock to flow model because it doesn't show you it, because it's not an actual model and it doesn't fucking work. But what will actually happen is, if we continue to do what we have done over the last number of years, is that we'll have a bull run which eventually ends and then sees the prices diminish by around about 80%. Okay, 80 to 90% is what we're looking at. So I'm looking at somewhere between 50 and 100 grand if we're going to see the prices come back down to somewhere around about where they might fill that gap on the CME charts down there at 9 grand. Okay, otherwise then that gap might just stay there forever, or we might get an even bigger retrace eventually in the future. Don't particularly care, but I do know that 2022, if the history is correct, is that if it does get to 250 grand, it'll probably also in that same year be at 50% down from that twice, once before it and once after it. Okay, so look out for that. That's what I would say. But yeah, sure, Tim, nice man. 250 grand, 300 grand, man. 300 grand, 300 grand. That's what we're going with over here. So who else hasn't had a shout out from me yet? Just let me scroll on up and see if I've got everybody. Yes, Greg earlier on. Poor choice on my parts then, and it's probably more coincidence than anything. Thanks for the replies, Trade Spot and Rocky Outcrop. Well, yeah, sorry, yeah, you're totally you're fine, mate. Thanks very much for saying stuff. Anyway, I appreciate all sorts of feedback, and I'm not particularly bothered about the words that people use to give it to me in. Anyway, so it was a fine choice. Right, who else we had? Mexel Dude, I think I said hi to you already. Internet Phenomena, yes, you got told to go away. Harry Delph, give you a shout out, even though you got a message deleted. I'm going to think that you said something naughty. Craig Hicks, or is it Craig? I still don't know if it's Craig or Craig. I think you said Craig. I think you said it was Craig. Craig, good to have you here. Bob, good to have you here. For Michael John Scott, good friend, good to have you here as well. Brandon, the Garden Prophet, love seeing you, my friend. Marcin, my Polish American friend, season 2 of The Wire, good stuff to have you here. TR Castillo, thanks very much for being here as well. Base in the club, thank you so much for being here. Etienne, again, mon ami, thank you so much for being here. My very first French subscriber. Probably not got that many French subscribers, but you were my very first French subscriber, and I think you're also subscriber number 30 or something along those lines as well. So fantastic stuff, like, you know, real early days stuff there. John Torpy, yo, you got in for the shout outs. Got in for the shoutouts at the end. And Broxy, by the way, just catching back up with my chat. Been too long, my man. It's been somewhat of a good year. Winky faced last night, though. Yes, that's right. Yeah, mate. And yeah, right. Everybody friends here. Look at that. That's the community that we have, and it's a wonderful place to be. Danny Ray. Oh, you got in just in time for the shout out as well. Danny Ray, good to see you, buddy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Right. That's it, folks. No more time for anything. Not even for shout outs. Not even for shout outs. But I do need to roll the credits and say thanks to everybody. So I'm going to just go to that screen where you'll no longer hear me, you'll no longer see me. It'll just be the charts up on the screen, and it'll have your the credits rolling. Okay, so thanks. See you next time. Is there anyone still here? Because I've come back for a quick second. I just wanted to say thanks to Nav and Ethan. So just before I actually go away. Where's the chat box? I don't know if there's anybody here. There might be somebody here. Yeah, Nav and Ethan, one of the outcropticians. Really, really, really lovely guy. I like him a lot. And he sent me some of his hats, and I have them here, and I'm really delighted. Actually, I was wearing one of them today. I have these hats here. How cool is that he sent me these? Yeah, and they're not just any hat. They actually have NFC chips inside them, so they can be programmed to do certain stuff. Now, I don't have a lot of NFC in my life, but I was thinking that I could do certain things, like have it so that my certain apps that I use on my phone or whatever when I'm streaming open up automatically, so I could put my hat on, touch my phone to my head, and then I'm ready to stream. How magic is that? Anyway, the guy is really nice guy, and I tell you, if Broxy, if you're still here, you'll like the color choices that I got. Check this one out. This one's like Broxy's favorite color. For people who don't know, actually, I'm just going to keep that as an inside joke. Other people can figure it out. If they're from Scotland, they'll figure it out. But if they're not from Scotland, you'll not figure out what I'm talking about here. But anyway, yeah, thanks. Cool. Anyway, yeah, nice one. Thanks so much, Nav and Ethan. I should have worn one in the stream today. I'll do that next time. And yeah, I just didn't want to go away without having said thanks. Even if you're not here, at least I'm sort of saying it out into the world, and that is important to me to have done that. So I've done that, and I'll move on now. See y'all later. What a nice guy he is. Thank you so much. Right, cool.